Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Can my battleship be upgraded? Chapter 91. After the 24-hour decay process ends, the gravitational field disappears. The living beings in the field will suffer permanent functional damage, which will show up within the next week. For ordinary people who have never practiced physical training, this kind of injury is often unbearable pain for life. Let's arrange the formation later and take turns to lead according to the shift. There will be 3 people in each shift. When leading, the energy shield will be turned on. After the shield duration is over, the leading personnel will be replaced. The preliminary formation and piloting sequence are as follows. Please remember this, everyone. Personnel Director Chen Wei sent a form to the miners. Wang Dong took a quick glance and basically sorted the miners according to their overall strength level. Those with lower levels are in the front, and those with higher levels are in the back. Seems fair and reasonable. The deeper you go into the mining area, the higher the level required. There are a total of 12 so-called navigators, and Wang Dong ranks 3rd from the bottom. In fact, it is the last class. It can be seen that the Tianyu caravan still values Wang Dong relatively, ranking him last, and also bears the heaviest responsibility. Wang Dong thought about it over and over again, but in the end he did not expose the scam of HR Director Chen Pai on the spot. He also thought about taking the initiative to take on the piloting job from the beginning. He was confident in his driving skills and could ensure safety without opening the shield. But on every flight, there are 3 people leading the flight. If Wang Dong doesn't activate the shield, others can activate it as well. Also, what would people think if they want to change from the last shift to the first shift? Are you greedy for life and afraid of death? Without making too many moves, under the surveillance of 1,000 men in black, Wang Dong instinctively followed the prompts of the auxiliary system, selected a mining spacecraft with the best condition, and prepared to board the ship. F-class near-air mining spacecraft, status, 96%. Then he paused and changed direction, choosing instead to choose the mining spacecraft next to him that was in the worst condition. F-class near-air mining spacecraft, status, 86%. This time is different from the mining in the past. The condition of the ship is a little better or worse. It just depends on the amount of profit. He had the pawn to rely on, but he didn't really care much about the quality of the chosen spacecraft. For other miners, a better ship condition may mean the difference between life and death. So after a moment of hesitation, Wang Dong decided to leave the mining spacecraft in better condition to other miners. Suddenly, someone hit Wang Dong hard from behind. The unprepared Wang Dong staggered and almost fell down. The perpetrator passed Wang Dong, took the lead, and boarded the mining spacecraft Wang Dong chose behind him. It is also the one in the worst condition among the 12 mining spaceships transformed by the Tianyu caravan. Wang Dong looked up and met the proud look in Lao Shi's head. "Brother Dong, I know you have good taste, thank you." Seeing Wang Dong looking over, Tu Shi laughed softly. "Ah," Wang Dong sneered silently. He stood up, dusted himself off, and saw that everyone else had chosen their own spaceships. Only the mining spaceship he had picked out first, the mining spaceship in the best condition, was left unattended. Without hesitation, he boarded the mining spacecraft he originally selected. The familiar Minemaster Type 2. 15 minutes later, a mixed fleet consisting of a Constantine III exploration ship, an assault ship, a reconnaissance ship, and 12 mining spacecraft left the mining planet and headed for the asteroid belt mining area. On the mining spaceship, except for the miners, there were no thugs from the Tianyu caravan to monitor it. Wang Dong estimates that this should be due to the sub-decay gravitational field shield. It is obviously inappropriate to arrange for his men to board the ship to monitor the miners, knowing that they will definitely die, and die together. It is obviously inappropriate. The radiation from the sub-decay gravitational field shield doesn't care whether you are a miner or a Tiger caravan operator. This makes Wang Dong much more convenient. After scanning the cockpit, Wang Dong found that the Tianyu caravan had no additional tools for monitoring miners. That's right, the assault ships and reconnaissance ships escorting outside are enough to prevent the miners from escaping from the battle. Even if it is a reconnaissance ship, when it comes to mining spaceships, it will be a father beating his son, and every hit will be accurate. There was silence in the communication channel, and no one was in the mood to say anything. Wang Dong also remained silent. The time has not come yet, don't be anxious. Compared to the communication channel, the atmosphere on the Constantine III exploration ship was quite active. Brother Shu, do you think that rumor is true? Is there really titanium crystal ore in our remote small mining area? A young man with an oily face asked curiously. Back then, the person who helped the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce conduct exploration was Master Zhang Guang. It's just that Master Zhang Guang was just starting out, and he was far from as prestigious as he is today. The idiots of the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce were sitting on a treasure mountain without knowing it. They only paid attention to it for a few years, and because it was inconvenient to mine deep in the mining area, they didn't find anything. My dad was different. Not only had he noticed the conclusion reached by Master Zhang Guang early on, but he also started preparing for it several years in advance. This Constantine III exploration ship is a killer weapon specially prepared to explore the mining area. Chen Shu leaned back on the comfortable seat, raised his feet on the table, held a glass of valuable red wine in his hand, and said with a proud smile. Boss Chen is certainly amazing. The Tianyu caravan can reach today step by step and suppress the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce. He is really this. The naughty young man gave a thumbs up and said sincerely. But Brother Shu, you are not easy either. Otherwise, why would Boss Chen entrust you with such an important task? Look at this Constantine III exploration ship, as well as the assault ship and reconnaissance ship outside. Wow, it's scary. Everyone is dead. Chen Shu accepted all the flattery from the slippery young man. Although the person in charge of this operation was actually the second in command of Tianyu Caravan and Chen Shu's uncle, Chen Hu. Chen Hu is also the captain of the assault ship in the mixed fleet. As for Chen Shu, he mainly studied with his classmates. He smiled and said, "My father only has one son like me. He is currently busy suppressing the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce. He can't leave. Such an important task cannot be left to anyone but me. Not even my second uncle. Were you sent to assist me? Apart from my second uncle, my father told me this news Zhao. If communication controls had not been implemented on board now, I would not have told you." Quote. The slick young man nodded in agreement and offered a series of flattery, which made Chen Shu's face glowing red. After chatting for a while, the slick young man suddenly said doubtfully, "I see there are many miners in the fleet. Can those guys participate in such an important mission? What if they turn around and talk nonsense? Brother Shu, you have to investigate." "Hi, it's okay." Chen Shu waved his hand carelessly. The ships of these bad guys are all equipped with sub-decay gravitational field shields. People will die as soon as they are opened, and they have no chance to speak. The naughty young man quickly gave a thumbs up again. Brother Shu is wise and has no plans left. Chen Shu laughed. The two got along very happily. As for the consequences of casually speaking confidential information, and the consequences of casually hearing other people's confidential information, two happy young people seemed to have no idea at all. On the other side, the person responsible for commanding the Constantine III exploration ship was Chen Wei, the personnel director of Tianyu Mining Company, Limited. He is also the leader of the Tianyu caravan and the confidant of Chen Shu's father, Chen Long. Compared with Chen Shu, a playboy, Chen Pai's communication partner is Chen Hu, the second-ranking figure in Tianyu caravan. Aji, what's going on? Can the miners understand human language? Chen Hu's rough voice sounded. Brother Hu, don't worry, Riki, those three are quite honest. Chen Wei gently held his retro gold-framed eyes on the bridge of his nose and smiled. This operation is very important. Although Master Zhang Guang kept a low profile in his early years, as he becomes more and more famous now, his previous whereabouts are also being pursued by many people. If the news leaks out, then our competitors will not be locals like the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce, but nobles from all over the kingdom. By then, I'm afraid there won't be anything going on with us at all. Quote. Chen Hu whispered. Brother Hu, I understand. Brother Long has spent a lot of time preparing for today. I personally went to the Duke of the North's territory to secretly purchase this Constantine III exploration ship. How could I not understand the priorities? Quote. Chen Wei said happily. I'm just worried that what Master Zhang Guang said at the beginning was a small probability. In other words, the greater possibility is that there is actually no goods in the mining area. In that case, The Constantine III exploration ship we bought with a lot of money will not. It's not a waste of time. Haha, you don't understand this. The so-called small probability is actually just due to Master Zhang Guang's cautious habits. Dage deliberately made statistics. Master Zhang Guang's well-documented exploration conclusions clearly stated that those with no probability were not counted. 9 out of 10 reports stated that there was a small probability. And among these 9 copies, there is a small probability that the ones that are finally proven to be in stock are basically around 6 copies. Chen Hu's low and hoarse voice was like a loud explosion in Chen Pai's ears. He said excitedly, "Brother Hu, you mean that the small probability that Master Zhang Guang said is actually a 2/3 probability of shipment?" Humph, yes, Master Zhang Guang is so cautious. For him, 2/3 is considered a small probability. Chen Hu affirmed. Chen Wei's heart suddenly surged. No wonder Chen Long has kept this matter strictly confidential. It should be that no one has informed it except Chen Hu. Even he, the specific person in charge, had to wait until before departure before Chen Hu informed the specific details. By the way, Brother Hu, what if we fail to discover anything during this exploration? Chen Wei suddenly remembered something and felt a little embarrassed. Brother Long had already tried to get the original trap record of Master Zhang Guang's exploration process at that time, and based on this record, he formulated an exploration plan with a high amount of redundancy. If there is goods in our asteroid belt mining area, it can basically be determined to be within the 13 ranges we have delineated. Although each of these 13 circles is not small, what is our Constantine III exploration ship used for? At the beginning, the eldest brother would rather give up and outnumber the Kongshark Chamber of Commerce in terms of the number of assault ships, but also buy this professional exploration ship on the black market for its powerful mineral detection performance. Quote. Chen Hu explained calmly. Chen Wei said with relief. Brother Long is still the same as taking one step at a time and watching the next 3 steps. However, Xiao Shu seems to have brought a companion with him this time. Brother Hu, do you think this operation is a secret among secrets? No matter whether he knows anything or not, just like those miners, no outsider can be left behind after the incident. Chen Hu said coldly. Okay, Brother Tiger. Chen Wei lowered his head and said respectfully. 10 hours later, the mixed fleet arrived at the forward base outside the asteroid belt mining area, waiting for the window period to arrive. In fact, neither the Constantine III exploration ship nor the assault ship are afraid of the meteorite turbulence outside the asteroid belt mining area. These small meteorite turbulences are not a big problem for their thick armor. But the same cannot be said for the miners' mining ships. The other scout ship is docked at the forward base and will not enter the mining area together. On the one hand, reconnaissance ships are notoriously thin-skinned and are not suitable for entering mining areas. On the other hand, it is to perform vigilance tasks and prevent miners from escaping. With the takeover of Tianyu Caravan, many personnel changes occurred within the mining company. Many faces that Wang Dong was once familiar with have disappeared. The employees on duty at the forward base are no longer the familiar employees. The bartender's attitude was not enthusiastic at all, and the price of drinks in the space bar also skyrocketed by 1/3. Among the interstellar miners whose future is uncertain, no one is in the mood to talk or laugh. It's still Wang Dong who speaks on the channel first. We haven't seen each other for a while, so I'll treat you all to a drink. The bartender will give you a glass of Edelweiss each. On the word, Edelweiss, actively adds a slight accent. Then, the bartender answered coldly. I don't have any wine like Edelweiss. Lean a little, and the originally silent channel suddenly becomes lively. You don't have enough sincerity in treating guests. You even ordered the wrong wine name. An old miner was the first to laugh. He is the oldest miner still working in the mine. Ha ha ha, Brother Dong rarely drinks in space bars. It's normal that he's not familiar with it. Someone immediately followed to excuse him. Ah Dong, we all heard it, you want to treat us. Giving the wrong name of wine is not a reason to back down. This is an uncle with quite a lot of mining experience. Yes, Brother Dong rarely treats us, so you can't fool us. The hecklers followed. Wang Dong secretly praised in his heart, they are indeed all from the old world. Edelweiss is certainly not a wine name. It was the cut between the miners. It means radiation. Wang Dong took the risk and ordered wine in the name of Edelweiss, naturally implying that miners should be careful about radiation. After the bartender said there was no such wine, the most experienced old miner was the first to react and immediately started interrupting. Then the miners immediately followed. In a few words, Wang Dong's behavior became natural and not abrupt at all. Wang Dong pretended to be a little embarrassed and said with a smile, "I'm not familiar with the business, I'm sorry. Bartender, let's change it to sunset. I suggest that everyone raise a toast to thank Director Chen for the shield he specially installed for us. Sunset dusk. This wine is available, but it is rarely ordered. Among the miners, it means the end. It is often a miner who is old, can no longer work, and is ready to retire, so he goes to the space bar and orders a drink after the last mining session." At this moment, Wang Dong gave everyone a sunset dusk, and specially equipped them with energy shields. Coupled with the Edelweiss that Wang Dong seemed to have said by mistake before, its meaning is self-evident. The chill is deep, freezing the heart and soul. However, the miners, who had been mentally prepared after the previous Edelweiss, understood Wang Dong's words at a faster speed. Even Lao Shi, who had just snatched the spacecraft chosen by Wang Dong, did not cause any trouble. "No one knows the face of Tianyu Caravan. I was forced to come here, so no one had any precautions." Now Wang Dong has clearly pointed out that Chen Wei's so-called disposable small energy shield has fatal problems, and it is related to radiation. Believe it or not, at least everyone has an idea in their minds. The Tianyu Caravan obviously did not find any clues about the secret exchanges between the interstellar miners. The Tianyu Caravan lacks any respect for these selected elites among the miners. They are all disposable items and must be disposed of afterwards. Not to mention the so-called miner culture. Lean slightly, wait until the window period arrives, and enter the mining area. Something interesting happened. According to the pre-arrangement, none of the 3 navigators on the first flight activated the disposable small energy shield. The reason is quite reasonable. In this peripheral area, normal mining operations are no problem. Simply piloting, there is no need to waste precious energy shields. It is smart to save it for use in times of danger. The miners' little cleverness made Chen Pai laugh and no longer minded. As for Chen Hu, he won't pay attention to this at all. It was Chen Wei's idea to select these miners to lead the voyage. He believed that the depths of the mining area were too unfamiliar to them. With these miners who hang out in the mining area all day leading the way, at least some unnecessary trouble can be avoided. In fact, in Chen Hu's view, the so-called piloting is actually unnecessary. Relying on the armor of the assault ship and the professional exploration ship, it is not easy to come and go from just an asteroid belt mining area. If they hadn't been concerned about the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce, they would have already started in-depth exploration of the mining area. Before they obtain the contracting rights to the mining area, whatever they find in the mining area will be subject to the sovereignty declaration of the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce. They are not afraid of lawsuits. What they are afraid of is that the news will spread and attract other hungry wolves. As time goes by, the mixed fleet continues to penetrate deeper into the mining area. These miners are really smart. With them leading the way, the route chosen is indeed easier. Chen Hu said with some surprise. Indeed, the frequency of meteorite impacts is far less than expected. Chen Wei smiled and agreed. This shows that his decision is correct. At this time, the communication channel was no longer silent. Since entering the mining area, the miners have been chatting in the channel. The astronomical conditions in the mining area are complex and seriously interfere with communications, but communications within a short distance AEAD are okay. On weekdays, miners basically look for their own places to mine individually and do not get together. There are very few people traveling together like today. Because when mining, they are too close to each other, which will interfere with each other and is not conducive to maintaining harmony. If rare minerals are discovered at the same time, whose property is it? Therefore, on the one hand, it is a rare opportunity to chat in the mining area, which is interesting. On the one hand, it is also to maintain smooth communication in order to cope with their difficulties. Those selected by the Tianyu Caravan are all the elites among the miners. Even deep into the middle of the mining area, no one showed signs of exertion. The three people from the second shift took the initiative not long ago to replace the navigator from the first shift. Just piloting is naturally a level simpler than mining. The sub-decay gravitational field shield, nicknamed disposable small energy shield, was also not turned on. After entering the middle section of the mining area, it is obvious that the astronomical environment is more complex. The number, density and size of meteorites and other stars have increased significantly. The miners' mining spaceships are okay. They are small in size and highly maneuverable, so they can travel through them. The bulky assault ships and exploration ships are different. It is inevitable that the number of collisions with meteorites and other celestial bodies will increase a lot along the way. The Constantine III exploration ship is okay, it is a professional ship after all. The alloy armor with added liquid silver exhibits excellent performance against pure kinetic energy impacts such as meteorites. The vast majority of meteorite impacts leave no traces on the armor, even the slightest movement of the ship's hull will not occur. The characteristic of precious minerals like liquid silver is to absorb kinetic energy. Armor made of pure liquid silver can even almost completely ignore kinetic energy impact. Of course, armor made of pure liquid silver performs unsatisfactory when faced with attacks from other attributes, such as beams, plasma, particles and other attributes. But Chen Hu's assault ship will not work. Although it is equipped with military armor and has some defensive performance, when faced with the impact of a large meteorite, the impact is quite obvious. Not only will the armor at the impact point be damaged, but every impact will cause the hull to vibrate significantly. Chen Hu frowned slightly. The environment in the mining area seemed to be harsher than he imagined. It is conceivable that without the guidance of the miners, their voyage would have been more difficult. Thinking of this, Chen Hu couldn't help but appreciate Chen Wei even more. This rising star of the family was indeed sent out to study abroad. Not a big wasted investment, something. Compared to that playboy Chen Shu, perhaps it would be more appropriate for the next generation of the Tianyu caravan to be led by Chen Pai. It's a pity that Chen Long, the eldest brother, is both capable and ruthless. He is good at everything. He just dotes on Chen Shu, the only son, a little too much. The first three mining spacecraft led the way, the middle exploration ship and the assault ship followed the pilots, and finally there were 9 mining spacecraft with 2 large ships as a barrier. The mixed fleet continues deep into the mining area. According to the several exploration points given by Tianyu Caravan, the nearest ones are close to the deep edge of the mining area. At this time, 3 miners who had been transferred to the third shift were leading the way. The old miner was among them. In the communication channel, the old miner was talking about ancient times and some rare experiences he had encountered in the mines for many years. At this time, as they traveled along the way, the astronomical environment became more and more complex. Wang Dong knew that if it continued, some miners might be forced to turn on the sub-decay gravitational field shield. Moreover, after going deep into the mining area to a certain extent, some natural traps began to appear frequently. He found an opportunity and asked, pretending to be confused, "Uncle, I always hear people say that in the mining area, there is a rare beauty called woe. Everyone who has seen it says it will be unforgettable for a lifetime. Uncle, have you ever encountered it?" The old miner's tone paused for a moment, as if he was recalling something, and then he smiled and said, 10 years ago, a few companions and I wanted to see if we could find good goods deep in the mining area. The result was unexpected and I plunged into the nest. My goodness, it's so enjoyable, so beautiful. I really want to see such beautiful scenery again. Quote, in the asteroid belt mining area, there is often gravitational turbulence. Some hidden gravitational turbulence is in relative balance within itself and is not visible on ordinary days. But when disturbance caused by external factors reaches a certain level, it will suddenly break out. This hidden and powerful turbulence is regarded as the biggest trap by interstellar miners. The so-called woe refers to this kind of trap. Whether it was Wang Dong's question or the old miner's answer, it was obviously abnormal. Since encountering woe means your life is hanging by a thread, where do the enjoyable, beautiful, and watch it again come from? Everyone chatted for a few more words. Then, the 3 leading mining spacecraft, led by the old miners, slightly adjusted their course. This is normal. When the astronomical environment ahead is too complex, it is wise to choose a detour. A few hours later, in the communication channel, the old miner suddenly laughed and said, "The previous paragraph looks a bit like a nest to me. You guys can wait and see if it is true." As soon as these words came out, all the miners were shocked. Oh my god, old-timers are old-timers. Wang Dong was just a reminder before, but the old miner didn't spend much time to find a suitable target and even led the way there. In front of the fleet is a seemingly unremarkable sea of meteorites. The only thing that is slightly different from the surroundings is that this meteorite sea is generally filled with smaller celestial bodies, with few large asteroids. What looks a bit similar, Wang Dong can guarantee that the above is the "whoa" he just mentioned, the one he met 10 years ago. Wang Dong is also someone who has used "whoa." Naturally, he knows that for any hidden turbulence that can exist for a long time, there must be no large celestial bodies within its range, and it has long been disintegrated by frequent impacts. As soon as the old miner finished speaking, Wang Dong suddenly questioned Chen Pai on the communication channel. "Chen Wei, why did your Tianyu caravan install a sub-decay gravitational field shield on our spacecraft? This disposable shield is extremely radioactive and can only be used on drones, otherwise you will definitely die. How do you know that the sub-decay gravitational field shield installed on you is?" Before Chen Pai could react and think about how to deal with it, someone in the channel had already blurted out the truth. "Who is it if it's not Chen Shu?" Wang Dong was stunned. "I originally thought of using this kind of questioning to once again express my position and strengthen the belief of other miners to fight against the Tianyu caravan." Afterwards, Wang Dong had already made more than 10 plans to refute the possible reasons for Chen Wei's explanation. As a result, there was no need to waste any more words. Chen Shu jumped out and pushed the process to the last step. Not wanting to shut up this dandy, Chen Wei quickly explained, "Wang Dong, you misunderstood. We in the Blackstone Baron can't buy such high-tech things as sub-decay gravitational field shields. The disposable small energy shield provided for you this time is a product with relatively mature technology and stable performance. If it weren't for this important operation, it would be impossible to take it out. Only when there is a storm can you learn the truth. None of the elites selected from these 12 miners is from the old world." There was no need to say a word more, and no more nonsense from Chen Pai. The 3 mining spaceships leading the way increased their speed and slightly widened the distance between them in a tacit understanding. The 9 mining ships behind them all began to slow down in unison, widening the distance from the exploration ships and assault ships ahead. Before the exploration ships and assault ships of the Tianyu caravan could react, the originally well-organized mixed fleet instantly turned into 3 small groups that were greatly separated from the head and tail and separated from the middle. Change happens so fast that everyone can only make their own decisions subconsciously. "Follow me," Chen Hu shouted. The assault ship began to accelerate, trying to catch up with the 3 pilot mining spacecraft that were accelerating away from the front. "Slow down," Chen Wei also shouted. The exploration ship's auxiliary engine was working at full power and the speed was reduced. The next moment, a drastic change occurs. The high-speed passing of 3 mining spacecraft broke the balance of the meteorite sea ahead. Visible to the naked eye, the entire meteorite sea began to stir. At the same time, the original flight posture of the 3 mining spacecraft was also seriously affected after entering the meteorite sea. Except for the old miner's spaceship, which was the leader, it made just the right adjustment at the first moment, almost maintaining the same speed, passing by it along an arc from the edge of the meteorite sea, and quickly getting out of danger. The remaining 2 mining spaceships, which were also responsible for piloting tasks, looked much more embarrassed. Affected by the strong gravitational turbulence in the meteorite sea, the flight attitude and route of the 2 spacecrafts changed. One of the mining spaceships, after using all the auxiliary engine adjustments at all costs, reluctantly adjusted its course back. It also followed the example of the old miners and quickly cut out along the edge of the meteorite sea to escape the direct influence of gravitational turbulence. Another mining spacecraft did not have such good luck. That was clearly Lao Shi's spaceship. Wang Dong clearly saw that Lao Shi, who was also turning on all auxiliary engine power, was also adjusting his flight attitude and route. Unfortunately, just 10 seconds later, one of the 4 auxiliary engines suddenly overloaded and shut down. How can one catch a cold at such a critical moment? The mining spacecraft first trembled on the spot, and then, with insufficient power, it could no longer escape the influence of gravitational turbulence. Lao Shi's flying attitude was out of control. Immediately, his mining spacecraft collided sideways with a meteorite that was supposed to pass by. This collision was not serious, it was just a side collision that damaged several armor plates. But the next chain reaction was not so easy. The first impact was just an introduction. It directly caused Lao Shi's mining spacecraft to completely lose its stable flight attitude. In normal space, the flight attitude can be slowly readjusted. But in this gravitational turbulence, this is an irreversible fatal mistake. Lao Shi's mining spacecraft was instantly involved in the gravitational turbulence. Under the complex gravitational environment, it constantly collided with small celestial bodies around it. Almost instantly, the entire spacecraft fell apart. The experienced Lao Shi not only failed to open the separation program of the rescue capsule, but also had no time to activate the so-called disposable small energy shield. Wang Dong sighed. Destiny always reflects its own existence inadvertently. The mining spacecraft that Lao Shi grabbed was one that Wang Dong used the scanning function of the auxiliary system to specially find, and the ship was in the worst condition. He thought that the boat selected by Wang Dong was the best, so he made a small move, knocked Wang Dong over and boarded the boat first. In fact, one of its auxiliary engines is displayed in yellow in the system scanning interface, but is completely green. Represents poor condition. Lao Shi's accident was precisely due to overload operation, which overloaded the azimuth adjustment engine, which was already in poor condition, and was short of breath at the critical moment. Directly led to Lao Shi's death. Before his rebirth, Lao Shi was deceived by Wang Dong in a similar way. After his rebirth, Lao Shi lived for a while longer, but was still buried in the mining area for the same reason. The difference is that this time he committed suicide by himself and had nothing to do with Wang Dong. The remains of Lao Shi were scattered in the starry sky in the mining area. Like an interstellar miner's funeral, the three mining spacecraft caused thousands of turbulent disturbances in the meteorite sea. Then the fierce advance of an assault ship instantly amplified this disturbance to the point where it exceeded the threshold. Just like the real sea reacts when it is angered. Compared to mining spaceships in terms of size and mass, the assault ship was much better than that of the mining spacecraft. It faced the wrath of the entire meteorite sea. The gravitational turbulence in which the gravitational field is severely disturbed reveals the reality hidden under the calm surface at this moment. Countless meteorites in the entire meteorite sea, led by gravitational turbulence, began to rotate, jump, and impact with the entire assault ship as the center point. Chen Hu, who was in the command cabin of the assault ship, could only see on the real-life simulation screens around him that in the blink of an eye, there were overwhelming meteorites hitting the assault ship. Immediately afterwards, intensive collision sounds resounded throughout the entire assault ship. Just like a car hit by a large hailstone, the entire assault ship's hull was shaking. Whether it is the outer armor or various parts of the assault ship's hull, they all seemed to be groaning unbearably during the violent and high-frequency impacts. Alert! Alert! The armor is severely damaged. Alert! Alert! The hull structure is seriously damaged. The prompt tone of the ship's optical brain is cold and cruel. Equipped with a red warning light representing an emergency, the entire command cabin suddenly became a crowd. Brother Tiger! The armor is almost completely destroyed. The frequency of collisions is too high, we can't hold on. Brother Hu! The hull has been cracked in many places, and the engine room is also damaged. The engine output is insufficient and we cannot escape. What should we do, Brother Tiger? Chen Hu looked confused. The change came so fast that he had no time to think of a way to deal with it. After being involved in the gravitational turbulence, in just a few minutes, the assault ship was already on the verge of disintegration and shattering under the impact of the tsunami-like meteorite. There is no essential difference from Lao Shi's mining spacecraft. Just hold on a little longer. The sudden boiling of the meteorite sea, as well as the dazzling flash of light that broke into it first, showed the fate of Chen Hu and the assault ship. The Constantine III exploration ship, which originally followed closely behind but slowed down in time at the last moment, entered the edge of the meteorite sea one step behind Chen Hu. Here, compared to the assault ship that penetrates deep into the meteorite sea, the meteorite impacts encountered by the exploration ship are greatly reduced, both in frequency and quantity. At the same time, the special armor made of liquid silver alloy makes the exploration ship quite capable when facing meteorite impacts. Under the high-power operation of the engine, the exploration ship resisted the influence of gravitational turbulence, stayed steadily at the edge of the meteorite sea, and gradually retreated slowly, leaving its range of influence. Chen Wei wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Chen Hu's fate was unacceptable to him. I was still chatting in the communication channel a few minutes ago, and at the same time I had enough confidence in this exploration operation. The smooth process of going all the way in made them underestimate the dangers contained in the mining area. What's particularly abominable is that the miners, who were originally regarded as cannon fodder to explore the way, actually took advantage of the natural traps in the mining area to severely deceive the Tianyu caravan. Chen Wei couldn't figure out where they had the courage to do this and the tacit understanding they showed in the process. But this does not prevent Chen Wei from making up his mind to look good to these Shasans after he leaves the mining area. No one can escape. Of the 3 mining spacecraft leading the way, 2 slipped away and 1 was killed. The 9 mining spaceships behind them turned around as soon as the incident occurred and scattered in all directions. The complex astronomical environment in the asteroid belt mining area made them disappear from sight in the blink of an eye. Although their whereabouts can be captured through the survey radar on the exploration ship, in this complex environment, this capture can only be maintained within a short and limited distance. And seeing that the 9 mining spacecraft didn't look back, it would take less than 10 minutes for the exploration ship to no longer be able to monitor them. In fact, Chen Wei also knew very well, so what if the whereabouts of these mining spacecraft could be monitored? The Constantine III exploration ship is not equipped with powerful weapons, and it is unable to carry out long-range attacks on these mining spacecraft. At the moment, the most critical issue is actually whether to continue the exploration mission or to give up and exit the mining area. To advance or retreat, Chen Pai, as the speaker, needs to make a decision. There is a reason for progress. Chen Hu's assault ship, as well as the personnel on board, are important armed support for the Tianyu caravan. Being destroyed in the mining area today is a heavy blow to the Tianyu caravan, and will even directly affect the Tianyu caravan's current suppression of the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce. At the same time, an assault ship of the Tianyu caravan sank in the mining area. This news could not be concealed as the miners fled. As the situation changes and the news leaks, the Tianyu caravan's plans for the mining area are likely to be exposed. By then, Tianyu caravan may not be able to exclusively enjoy the opportunities in the mining area. In addition, although there is only 1 exploration ship left in the fleet, Chen Wei, this Constantine III exploration ship is after all a professional ship purchased with a lot of money. If nothing else, it can complete the exploration task alone. And there are reasons to retreat. Chen Hu's death and the sinking of the assault ship were important events related to the overall strategy of the Tianyu caravan. This news must be told to Chen Long, the boss of Tianyu caravan, as soon as possible. In the mining area, it is impossible to establish direct contact with the outside world. If Chen Wei continues to carry out the exploration mission, Chen Long will undoubtedly not get this news in the short term. Information disadvantages can sometimes be fatal. What's more, the current struggle between the Tianyu caravan and the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce is at a critical juncture that is becoming increasingly fierce. Chen Wei was weighing the left and right, not mentioning the dilemma. On Wang Dong's side, after quickly breaking away from the fleet, keeping a long distance from the meteorite sea, and leaving the detection range of the exploration ship, he drove the mining spacecraft to dock on the pond, which could also be reached by car. Subsequently, the pond also began to accelerate away from this airspace. With the help of the high-quality survey radar on the pond, Wang Dong has a detection range that is far better than that of the Constantine III exploration ship, and can grasp the overall situation more clearly and intuitively than anyone else. Wang Dong was not surprised that Chen Hu's assault ship was directly buried by the meteorite sea. Even though the assault ship is called a military warship, in places like mining areas, it is actually far inferior to civilian ships such as the Constantine III exploration ship. At least, if it was the Constantine III exploration ship that was swept into the meteorite sea, it would not be as embarrassed as Chen Hu's assault ship. The armor made of liquid silver alloy can be completely intact when faced with the impact of such a small meteorite. But Chen Wei seemed to underestimate the danger in the mining area. Looking at the Constantine III exploration ship slowly retreating at the edge of the meteorite sea, Wang Dong sneered. Not retreating at full speed, no matter what the reason was a mistake for Chen Wei. I didn't see that whether it was the 2 mining spacecraft that escaped from the meteorite sea in front, or the 9 mining spacecraft that turned around and ran away early, or even the pond after picking up Wang Dong, they were constantly moving away from the airspace of the meteorite sea. This is not because he is afraid of being chased by Chen Wei's exploration ship. What they really worry about is the gravitational turbulence hidden under the meteorite sea. Just like in the sea, the formation of whirlpools always starts from small to large, rather than reaching the peak at the beginning. In addition, the expansion of the scope of the vortex's influence is often an exponential process. The gravitational turbulence in the mining area is also not an isolated baby. Especially this kind of gravitational turbulence that is originally maintained in dynamic equilibrium. When disturbed, its influence will rapidly expand and affect other gravitational turbulence in the surrounding airspace. So, just like the formation of an avalanche, one layer after another is relayed, and eventually, all the gravitational turbulence near this airspace will be disturbed. Looking at Chen Wei's Constantine III exploration ship with pity, Wang Dong sighed with regret. No matter how professional a ship is, it is just a waste if it falls into the hands of unprofessional people. What's more, it's just a defective ship. Quote, within the field of view of the auxiliary system, Wang Dong can clearly see. There are obvious problems with the armor of this Constantine III exploration ship. Only the outermost layer is green. Inside, it is gray. Gray represents defective products. Only the outermost layer of its liquid silver armor is authentic. Otherwise, Wang Dong would not choose this simple impact trap. At this time, Chen Wei gradually felt that something was wrong. He originally thought that with the sinking of the assault ship, the meteorite sea in front of him would gradually become silent without being disturbed by external factors. But I never thought that with the passage of time, not only the meteorite sea became more and more violent, but also it seemed that the asteroids outside the meteorite sea gradually began to become active. No. Why are those miners running so fast? Chen Wei suddenly reacted. Quick, get out of here. The Constantine III exploration ship began to change course and increase engine power. Even against the influence of gravitational turbulence, this professional exploration ship still steadily began to increase speed and sailed away from the meteorite sea. However, it was already too late for Chen Pai to issue the correct order. The impact caused by gravitational turbulence will be fully reflected after a long enough fermentation. The meteorite sea is rioting, the surrounding asteroids are also rioting, and the picture airspace is starting to riot. Just like the vortex caused by Chen Hu's assault ship before entering the meteorite sea. Centered on Chen Wei's Constantine III exploration ship, it also triggered a larger whirlpool. Countless meteorites and asteroids surround the Constantine III exploration ship, and driven by gravitational turbulence, they continue to slam into the hull. The Constantine III exploration ship with liquid alloy armor can ignore the ordinary impact of small meteorites, but when the meteorite hits the ship, the diameter increases from a few meters to more than 10 meters to thousands of meters in diameter, or even hundreds of thousands. Rice time. The armor that was just liquid silver alloy instead of pure liquid silver was beginning to be too much to bear. Although it can absorb a large amount of kinetic energy, the remaining small part will still act on the hull. When the number is too huge, even if multiplied by 1%, it is still a huge enough result. Inside the Constantine III exploration ship, Chen Wei faced a situation similar to Chen Hu. Brother Wei, the liquid silver alloy armor is beginning to be damaged. The mass of the asteroid that hit the ship's hull is too high, and the armor cannot hold up. Brother Wei, the impact has begun to cause damage to the ship's structure. The engine is at full output, but we have fallen into the field of gravitational turbulence. Unless we leave this airspace, we cannot escape the successive collisions. What should we do, Brother Wei? The good thing about Chen Hu is that they at least have time to think. The liquid armor of the Constantine III exploration ship bought them enough time to respond. Leave this airspace at full speed. Damage control operations go all out. In addition, find a big one and stick it on it, it will be our shield. Everyone, cheer up, our armor is strong enough, and there is still hope. Chen Wei ordered loudly. Okay, Brother Pai, it's all up to you. Go, go, go. Others responded. The Constantine III exploration ship struggled to maintain its course amid the continuous collisions, and at the same time deliberately approached an asteroid with a diameter of tens of kilometers, using it as a barrier to temporarily reduce a large number of collisions. For a moment, the exploration ship seemed to be struggling to save itself from a quagmire. Step by step, slowly but firmly, it made its way out of this airspace. A very touching scene. This is the characteristic of the human race. In every difficult situation, under the leadership of a qualified leader, they can always form a rope and fight to create a world. On the pond, which was keeping a safe distance at a safe distance, Wang Dong saw the efforts of the Constantine III exploration ship to survive through the sky survey radar, and couldn't help but applaud. The response is still very beautiful, but it's a pity that it's too late. The Constantine III exploration ship is climbing up step by step. Its power is still surging, and its course is exactly right. Only its shell, the scarred shell, could no longer hold up. Brother Wei. After the outer armor began to be damaged, the damage rate of the inner armor began to increase sharply. There is something wrong with this armor. Only the outer layer is made of liquid silver alloy, and the inner layer is wrong. The desperate cry of the damage control team leader made Chen Wei's heart suddenly fall into the abyss. It's so fake. It's such an underground black market. I shouldn't buy this kind of 3-no product. Chen Wei let out the most ferocious roar in his life. Abandon ship. Then he whispered the escape command. The Constantine III exploration ship has complete self-rescue and escape equipment. But in the current environment, the general way of life is obviously ineffective. For example, if the rescue capsule is ejected, it will be destroyed immediately. Fortunately, the core escape capsule of the Constantine III exploration ship is reliable enough. In Wang Dong's eyes, the Constantine III exploration ship that Chen Wei was on began to be damaged in the impact at a speed far exceeding the expected speed. Liquid silver alloy armor is not just of this level. Later, the calculation results of the shipboard optical computer made him clear. It turns out that the armor of this Constantine III exploration ship only has the outermost layer, which is made of real liquid silver alloy. After the outermost layer of armor made of flowing silver alloy is damaged, it will then become armor made of ordinary materials. Obviously, profiteers like the Tianyu caravan encountered profiteers when they purchased the Constantine III exploration ship. Dog bites dog, that's all. It's no wonder that it didn't take long for the Constantine I exploration ship to be unable to hold on. Although even if the armor of this Constantine III exploration ship was not mixed with water and was made of qualified liquid silver alloy, it would not be able to escape this airspace. But this time the Tianyu caravan was deceived by profiteers and bought fake and inferior products, which really made Wang Dong feel happy. Good and evil will eventually be rewarded. Then, the Constantine III exploration ship, which seemed to realize that it could not escape unscathed, no longer struggled to sail, but concentrated its engine power for other uses. In just 10 seconds, the armor of the hull was completely destroyed and began to further affect various cabins. The energy storage is finally over. A wave of waves flashed through, and the next moment, the center of the hull of the Constantine III exploration ship seemed to suddenly collapse. With the continuous collision of surrounding asteroids, the entire exploration ship quickly fell apart and was eventually buried in the sea of stars. On the pond survey radar, first the bright spot representing the Constantine III exploration ship disappeared, indicating that it had sunk. Then, a new bright spot suddenly appeared some distance away. Instead of gradually approaching, it suddenly appeared there. Wang Dong shifts the perspective of virtual imaging to the emerging bright spots. It was a lifeboat in the shape of a short cylinder, no more than 20 meters in length and about 3 meters in diameter. Tilt slightly. After the survey radar completes the scan, the shipboard optical brain gives the analysis results. Wang Dong narrowed his eyes slightly. Good guy, the Constantine III exploration ship was originally equipped with a core lifeboat. Through the functions of the entire ship, this lifeboat can jump a considerable distance at one time and escape from dangerous situations. Obviously, Chen Wei just boarded this core lifeboat and escaped from the scope of the gravitational turbulence through space jump. Different from the rescue capsule, this core lifeboat still has a solid hull and considerable navigation capabilities after breaking away from the hull. The small shipboard optical computer inside can back up and store important data such as flight logs in real time. Seeing that the lifeboat had been launched and started to find a way to sail outside the mining area, Wang Dong did not wait any longer. The pawn set sail and quickly approached the lifeboat. Half an hour later, Chen Wei and others, who were just glad to have escaped, were stunned to find that a huge monster appeared in front of the lifeboat. That's a fire battleship. With the 4 secondary guns taking aim, the lifeboat slowed down quite wisely. Wang Dong easily captured the lifeboat. Not taking it lightly, Wang Dong first used the secondary gun to carefully destroy the lifeboat's engine. Then 2 armed robots were sent into the lifeboat. After all safety hazards were eliminated, the data in the small shipboard optical brain in the lifeboat was read out. As for the dozen or so survivors found on the lifeboat, including Chen Pai and Chen Shu, Wang Dong killed them all mercilessly. Armed robots are not much more difficult to kill ordinary people than to kill chickens. Until Chen Wei and others died, they didn't know whose hands they died. Finally, a main gun blast from the pond shattered the entire lifeboat into pieces and scattered in all directions. In an environment like the asteroid belt, it is really easy to destroy corpses and eliminate traces. Wang Dong flipped through the information read from the lifeboat somewhat casually. Some of these materials are confidential information about the Tianyu caravan, and some are exploration reports on asteroid mining areas. The confidential information of Tianyu caravan is of little value to Wang Dong. Perhaps handing this information to the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce can play a big role. But Wang Dong had no intention of doing this. The source of the information is a problem, and it can easily expose the existence of Pond and Wang Dong's identity. Only the 13 airspace areas circled by the Tianyu caravan attracted Wang Dong's attention. This is the location judged by the Tianyu caravan to be the most likely to contain titanium crystal deposits. Titanium crystal, Wang Dong has considerable demand. High-quality ship-based modules, as well as the strengthening and improvement of the ship structure. In addition to the demand for source points, there is also a demand for titanium crystals. This kind of ore is also one of the resources that the privileged class monopolizes. Unfortunately, these 13 airspace areas are all deep in the mining area. Even the pond number may encounter danger when it goes deep into them. Moreover, Wang Dong did not believe the conclusion of the Tianyu caravan. In my previous life, more than 10 years later, I had never heard of any news that titanium crystal ore had been discovered in the asteroid belt mining area. This kind of news cannot be concealed. Titanium crystal ore is a highly strategic resource that is strictly controlled. Let alone Baron Blackstone, even the Grand Duke of the North is not qualified to mine it. It can only be placed under the direct control of His Majesty the King of the Bohemia Kingdom. Wang Dong didn't take it too seriously and just randomly stored this material in the ship's optical brain. Although it is unlikely that there will be titanium crystal ore in these delineated areas, other high-value minerals should still appear with a high probability. Especially energy crystals are more likely to appear in areas rich in minerals. At this point, the so-called mining area exploration operation launched by the Tianyu caravan ended with the annihilation of the members of the Tianyu caravan. Among the 12 miners who were forced to participate by the Tianyu caravan, except for Lao Shi who was buried in the meteorite sea, the other 11 miners, including Wang Dong, all exited the mining area safely. On the outskirts of the mining area, the 11 miners who had survived the disaster gathered together again. They did not return to their forward base. Because a reconnaissance ship from the Tianyu caravan did not follow them into the mining area, but stayed at the forward base to be on guard while preventing the miners from escaping. Through mutual communication, the miners determined that both Chen Hu's assault ship and Chen Wei's exploration ship had sunk in the mining area. Because their lives were at stake, the miners struck back and led the 2 ships of the Tianyu caravan into the hidden gravitational turbulence, killing them in one fell swoop. Afterwards, it is inevitable to worry. After all, it was no secret that they followed the 2 ships of the Tianyu caravan into the mining area, and the Tianyu caravan knew it all. In the mining area, the Tianyu caravan was tricked by the miners. When a Tiger caravan is launched outside the mining area, miners can be lifted up and beaten in 360 ways. Not to mention other things, the current reconnaissance ship of Tianyu caravan makes the miners dare not leave the mining area. After being forced into a corner, the miners began to think about how to face the next challenge from the Tianyu caravan. What should we do next? I don't know. I would definitely not dare to go back for fear of being captured by the Tianyu caravan. If we don't go back, we won't last long. After the supplies are used up, you have to go back even if you don't want to. How about we go to the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce? Lao Qin might have a solution. I wonder, if old Qin had his way, would he still have them all taken away? That was in the past. This time, an assault ship from the Tianyu caravan was crashed in the mining area, along with a large number of personnel. It can be said that the losses were heavy. Maybe the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce can take this opportunity to turn the situation around. A group of miners discussed among themselves. Thanks to your reminder before, everyone knows that that bullshit shield is not a good thing. In addition, if you hadn't mentioned Woe specifically, we wouldn't have thought we could have escaped like this. Thank you in advance, Uncle Tu. The old miner said. Yeah, thanks to Brother Dong, you can tell at a glance that the energy shield is not a good thing. Ah, Dong is so smart. With a few jargons, he kept the fools in the Tianyu caravan in the dark. Yes, I have to thank Brother Wang Dong. Wang Jiao, yes, when I heard that Woe was beautiful, I almost spit out my mouth. Ha ha ha. Tun. Wang Dong quickly said modestly. I'm just reminding you that it was mainly due to Uncle Sao's experience that we were able to lure the people from the Tianyu caravan into the nest and directly trap them to death. To say that the credit is greater, Uncle Sao has the greatest credit. The old miner's surname is Sao. He didn't care about Wang Dong's pushing skills and asked directly, no more nonsense, you have brains and skills, and you are still so young. You definitely have a bright future. No matter what, if you touch my child from now on, it will be my fault. If you say east, we will go east, if you say west, we will never go south. As soon as the words fell, the communication channel was silent at first, and then there were voices of agreement. Brother Wang Dong's life-saving grace must be repaid. If nothing else, it's a matter of personal concern, no problem. Yes, Brother Dong is very suitable to be the person to talk to, and I am also convinced. Brother Dong, don't worry, we will definitely support you. Wang Dong was a little moved. After all, he is a man traveling among the stars. Regardless of whether he made the promise in the heat of the moment or not, it is at least a recognition of Wang Dong's character and actions. He didn't show any pretense, he just said, I accept everyone's thoughts. But I am young and can't really afford the person who is talking about this, so I would like to thank you for your kindness. Everyone started making noises again, and regardless of Wang Dong's personal opinion, the matter was confirmed. Wang Dong didn't say much when he saw this. The name of the speaker can only be regarded as an honorific title. It's not like the superior-subordinate relationship is really established. Whether others listen to what you say depends on various other factors. Wang Dong himself didn't take it seriously. After it was quiet for a while, old Uncle Sao still said, Dongbazi, I see if you have been silent before. Do you have any ideas? Let me tell you, you are the talker now. As long as what you say is reasonable, everyone will listen to you. Everyone should be. Wang Dong did not refuse and immediately said, a few days ago, when I was mining, I happened to meet Qin Wanli from the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce who was being hunted and fled into the mining area. I rescued him and sent him back to the mining planet. From him, I got news that the Sky Shark Chamber of Commerce has purchased 2 new assault ships from secret channels, and they will arrive in the next 2 days. The Tianyu caravan only has 2 assault ships, and one of them was killed by us in the mining area. As soon as the 2 warships from the Sky Shark Merchant Guild arrive, the Tianyu caravan will immediately have nothing to do but find time to cause trouble for us. Quote. This news was indeed informed by Qin Wanli to Wang Dong. The reason why Qin Wanli was chased by the Tianyu caravan that day was to pay the supplier an expedited service fee, so that the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce could obtain 2 assault ships in advance. From Qin Wanli's tone, it was obvious that this expedited service fee was not an ordinary item, and his unobtrusive son had to deliver it himself. Although he successfully completed the mission, Qin Wanli was eventually targeted by the Tianyu caravan and chased him all the way into the mining area. If he hadn't been rescued by Wang Dong, he would have been killed. Wang Dong's news made all the miners extremely happy. After repeated confirmation, everyone breathed a sigh of relief after receiving Wang Dong's affirmation. In this case, there will be no problem. As long as we wait patiently for a few days, I guess the Tianyu caravan's reconnaissance ship will not have the leisure to stay outside. That's right. After we get out, as long as we go directly to the Sky Shark Chamber of Commerce, with our merits, not to mention helping us stop the Tianyu caravan's revenge, there will definitely be other rewards. Ha ha ha, you don't look very good, but you think beautifully. What credit do you have for running away like a mouse? It's obviously the credit of Brother Dong. Okay. What are you talking about? Of course everyone deserves the credit for what we all did together. Of course, Brother Dong is the first to take credit, but even if I don't get the credit, it's still hard work, right? The atmosphere instantly became cheerful. Wang Dong also participated in it and enjoyed the sense of accomplishment after working together. On the pond survey radar, Wang Dong clearly saw that in fact, the reconnaissance ship of the Tianyu caravan had left and was not guarding outside the mining area. It seems that the Kong Shark Chamber of Commerce has received their new warship, and has the confidence to continue to compete with the Tianyu caravan. I just don't know what the scene will be like when the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce discovers that the Tianyu caravan, which they thought was evenly matched, has only one assault ship left. August 25th, light rain. The battle between the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce and the Tianyu caravan finally came to an end. This large-scale turmoil, which has been rare on the mining planet in recent decades, left a deep impression on many people. The most shocking scene was that 7 days ago, just above the mining planet, 2 assault ships of the Sky Shark Chamber of Commerce publicly attacked an assault ship of the Kaihu caravan. 2 against 1, warships of the same tonnage, the Tianyu caravan's assault ship was outnumbered and failed to even escape, and was sunk on the spot. On the battleship, a large number of senior caravan officials, including Chen Long, the boss of Tianyu caravan, were killed. Taking this as a sign, the Tianyu caravan's sphere of influence on the mining planet has shrunk. In addition to spitting out all the benefits that had been embezzled from the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce, even most of its own base was swallowed up by the Kong Shark Chamber of Commerce. Seeing the advantages, the small forces joined forces and joined forces. Just like how they cooperated with the Tianyu caravan to suppress the Sky Shark Chamber of Commerce before, they also bit off large chunks of flesh and blood from the Tianyu AEBB caravan. After Chen Bao, the third remaining brother among the 3 brothers of the Tianyu caravan, Chen Bao, had reorganized the Tianyu caravan. The Tianyu caravan, together with the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce and the Kingfisher Guild, were once known as the 3 major forces on the mining planet, has been reduced to a third-rate force. Not only that, the Tianyu caravan, which was in a state of decline, also faced the covetousness of many forces. The domineering Tianyu caravan had offended many forces before, but now when they are weak, they have to face dozens of enemies. Wang Dong and other miners waited in the mining area for 2 days before walking out of the mining area. By the way, tell the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce the news that the Tianyu caravan suffered heavy losses in the mining area. He played a role in the decline of Tianyu caravan. For this reason, the remaining 11 miners have received numerous rewards from the Kongshark Chamber of Commerce. Even Lao Shi's family received a pension. It has to be said that the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce is really much better than the Tianyu caravan in handling matters. By the way, the sheriff in charge of Wang Dong's area was prosecuted for corruption and malfeasance, and his future is not guaranteed and he will be jailed. This is a small revenge from Wang Dong. Good and evil will eventually be rewarded. The most famous private club on the mining planet, Lishui Villa. Lishui Villa is located on the outskirts of the city and is built on a high cliff. Covering an area of nearly 1,000 acres, it is a famous high-end club. It integrates food, accommodation and entertainment and is not open to non-members. This is the first time for Wang Dong to go. The black convertible sports car was speeding on the winding mountain road, and the rusty mountain breeze blew in the cool rain. Wang Dong squinted his eyes slightly, enjoying the rare natural coolness in this summer. This is a retro black roadster. This car is good. Is it the new replica of the old Lamborghini sports car launched by Yitai Industry this year? Wang Dong patted the leather cushion under him, and raised his eyebrows at Qin Wanli with a bit of long-lost nostalgia. Haha, brother Wang Dong has a good eye. I entrusted my friend in the Northern Grand Duke's territory to buy this with great difficulty. Qin Wanli laughed heartily. I'm just more interested in this kind of retro sports car. Is this a Matador model that uses gasoline, or a Wrangler model that uses energy blocks? Real men, of course, must use the Matador model to truly experience the bumpy excitement of driving a retro sports car. Chin Wanli's big, fat face was filled with excitement and he said matter-of-factly. Wang Dong grinned. There doesn't seem to be a gasoline refinery on our mining planet. That's right, it's all purchased from the Grand Duke of the North. The price of 1 liter of gasoline is equivalent to a standard energy block, which is not bad. When the price of oil was mentioned, Chin Wanli felt a little hurt and said he was being generous. Okay, rich man. Wang Dong gestured with his thumb, pretending not to notice Chin Wanli's face that could look fat without being swollen. So, even in the interstellar age, the price of oil is still enough to make people feel pain. Of course, this sentence is just something I think about in my heart. The night before, Chin Wanli contacted Wang Dong and invited him to a party. Wang Dong understood what Chin Wanli meant. This is to draw him into the circle. Fatty Chin is a man who knows how to repay his kindness. After the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce made a comeback and knocked the Tianyu caravan to death, he came to Wang Dong many times. Give money, give gifts, and give girls back. That enthusiasm made Wang Dong shout that he couldn't bear it. When Wang Dong saved people, it was not because of Chin Wanli's money or property, but mainly because of who he was. As for the assault ship and exploration ship that later teamed up with a group of miners to kill the Tianyu caravan, it was for his own convenience, not for Fatty Chin and the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce behind him. But Chin Wanli recognized that Wang Dong was his nobleman, and not only saved his life, but also helped his family defeat the Tianyu caravan in one fell swoop. He looks like he will never give up even if he encounters men on top of men. In just a few days, the relationship between the two became much better. By the way, this gathering was initiated by Lin Kai. Lin Kai, you should know, right? After Chin Wanli was so proud, he did not forget to tell Wang Dong the truth. I have heard about the successor of Kingfisher Guild Hall. Wang Dong nodded. The people talking about the Kingfisher Guild Hall are none other than the Lin family. Lin Kai is the leader of the younger generation of the Lin family. As far as Wang Dong knows, he has a good reputation. The Lin family is the real local snake on the mining planet. Not only do they have people in the Baron's mansion, they also have some forces secretly. Chin Wanli said a little carelessly. Lin Kai is considered the boss of this generation of the Lin family. Tonight's party is actually an exchange meeting for the younger generation on the mining planet. It's rare that you can attend such a party and also take me along with you. It seems that your status in the family has gained a lot recently. Wang Dong joked with a smile. The talk about the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce comes from within the Chin family. Chin Wanli has two capable eldest brother and eldest sister, who have always presented themselves as dandy idlers before. This kind of gathering is obviously only qualified for the top group of the younger generation. In the past, Chin Wanli was at best a follower who followed his elder brothers and sisters to make up the numbers. You may not even be able to come in, so how can you be qualified to lead others? Chin Wanli blushed, sighed melancholy, and said, it's not a matter of risking your life. I understand that if you want to gain the respect of others, you have to show your skills. Otherwise, take it out cold. Wang Dong understood that Chin Wanli's last adventure had received corresponding positive feedback. Whether it is within the family or in the eyes of the outside world, Chin Wanli has finally gotten rid of the label of playful idler and is treated as the number one person. The Lin family is actually not simple. Chin Wanli suddenly lowered his voice and said. The Lin family began to take root in the Blackstone barony 300 years ago. At that time, the Blackstone barony was not called the Blackstone barony. It is said that Lin Kai's great-grandfather had a very powerful figure in his generation. He owned a powerful fire battleship, obtained many resources, and fed them back to the Lin family. Quote, Old Chin, do you mean that the Lin family has a very powerful fire warship? Wang Dong didn't believe it. Chin Wanli shook his head quickly and said, it is said that it happened 300 years ago. Later, the Lin family's fire warship disappeared during an expedition outside the river. It is basically certain that it fell. After that, the Lin family gradually weakened, until today. But at that time, the Lin family relied on that fire warship and had left many personal connections. Although the tea is cool when people leave, I can't bear to say that the Lin family knows how to manage relationships. After several generations, a Skynet has been woven together. The Lin family's Kingfisher Club feeds on intelligence, and the Kingfisher Club on the mining planet is not the only Kingfisher Club. Quote. Wang Dong's heart moved, and Qin Wanli's words revealed a lot of information. The Kingfisher Club and the Lin family are indeed not simple. The Kingfisher Guild Hall on the mining planet is just the tip of the Lin family's iceberg. Driving into the antique gate of Lishui Villa, Qin Wanli's sports car began to slow down gradually, and finally stopped in a small forest inside the villa. We're here. Lin Kai has booked the Lingsho Hall as the venue for tonight's gathering. Qin Wanli introduced as he got out of the car. Wang Dong looked around. In this small forest, there were many evergreen plants planted in an orderly manner. The gaps between the plants happened to separate parking spaces of suitable sizes. There are already many vehicles parked there, most of which are sports cars, and a few of which are personalized vehicles such as off-road vehicles. There are almost no ordinary household suspension cars in sight. Yes, it depends on your personality. Following the forest path paved with stone slabs through the woods, Qin Wanli took Wang Dong to the entrance of a small manor. There are many pavilions, terraces and pavilions, all wooden buildings, with bright red as the main body, and various holographic projections, surround sound and other equipment cleverly embedded in them. The combination of classics and technology is quite perfect. It has a bit of flavor. Wang Dong couldn't help but praise. Lishui Villa is indeed doing well, and it is ranked among the best in the Blackstone Barony. Qin Wanli nodded. Wan Li, you arrived very early, hurry up and invite me, and this should be Brother Wang Dong. I am Lin Kai from the Kingfisher Guild Hall. I have been a long-time admirer. Welcome, welcome. At the entrance of the manor, a young man wearing a casual shirt and off-white trousers came up to him and said enthusiastically. Wang Dong took a closer look and saw that the person was slender, with good features and a sunny smile on his face. The first impression was good. Compared to the Tianyu caravan, the Kingfisher Guild Hall is low-key. But during this turmoil, both the Tianyu caravan, which took the lead, and the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce, which came from behind, always maintained restraint and did not attack the Kingfisher Guild Hall in the slightest. Anyone who cares can see how much weight lies beneath the surface of the Kingfisher Club. Lin Kai is not only handsome, but also has a good family background. A perfect template for a winner in life. Qin Wanli shook hands with Lin Kai with a smile on his face and said, "How dare I be late for Mr. Lin's party?" Work. Wang Dong walked up a few steps with a smile, shook hands with Lin Kai who came out warmly, and said, "Young Master Lin, I am the one who has admired you for a long time. I am the dream lover of many girls on the mining star. Today I saw you and your reputation is well deserved." Lin Kai smiled heartily and said, "Don't say that. If my girlfriend hears it, I will be miserable. Come and invite me inside. Tonight is a gathering of peers. You must have a good time. You're welcome." After sending the two of them all the way to the manor, Lin Kai called a waiter to guide them, and then continued to greet the guests at the door. "Lin Kai, your attitude is too low tonight, what are you doing?" Qin Wanli muttered something in a low voice that only Wang Dong beside him could hear clearly. Wang Dong frowned slightly, then relaxed his muscles. He was strong without desire. Anyway, he was not the protagonist tonight, so he just turned on the movie-watching mode. Wang Dong agreed to Qin Wanli's invitation to attend the party this time, not because he was bored or because he couldn't match Qin Wanli's enthusiasm. Maybe some of the above factors are involved. But more importantly, Wang Dong is preparing for future losses. Next month, a fleet led by Chen Shei, a direct knight of Baron Blackstone, will arrive at the mining planet. They came for Wang Dong. Wang Dong, who was born in a welfare institution, is actually the illegitimate son of Wang Lei, Baron Blackstone. Wang Dong's mother once had a relationship with Baron Wang Lei. For some reason, the later Baron needed to marry a certain local family, and the two parties reached an agreement to protect the status of his head wife and the inheritance rights of his children. Wang Dong's mother was forced to leave the Baron. She sent Wang Dong to an orphanage just after giving birth to Wang Dong, and she disappeared. In recent years, because Baron Wang Lei himself has been seriously ill, his wife has never been able to give birth to a boy. The barony faces the risk of having no legitimate heir. The Baroness hopes to inherit the barony through a step heir from her mother's side. This is obviously not in the interest of the vast majority of vassals in the barony. The vassals of the Baron and the Baron himself tended to recognize the status of the illegitimate son Wang Dong and convert him into the heir. In any case, Wang Dong is the continuation of the Baron's own bloodline. The Baron's opinion now prevailed. Before his rebirth, almost in September, the barony would send someone to take Wang Dong back. Thanks to the Baron's protection, Wang Dong was able to live a stable life. At that time, Wang Dong, who had neither practiced physical training nor been exposed to the fire worship, encountered many difficulties when controlling the tomahawk. Or after being admitted to the Baron house, he was trained as a noble heir. Only then did he obtain the training knowledge and introductory resources of body training, and systematically learned a lot of knowledge about fire warships. That was a very precious time for Wang Dong. Unfortunately, the good times did not last long. Wang Dong has already exposed his identity to the Jin family and the Tianfang earldom, and attracted many other covetous people. A mere Blackstone barony cannot protect him at all. Eventually he was forced to flee. After his rebirth, Wang Dong successfully got himself out of the sight of the Jin family, and directly killed the fourth caravan of Tianfang earldom, together with Wu Hao's, under the gunfire of the Jin family's fleet. It can be regarded as a complete solution to the security problem, and the secret inheritance of the tomahawk, the last legacy of the Yuan family, gives us a good trump card. But Wang Dong still needs to go through the barony channel to take off faster. What class of resources are gathered? The Blackstone barony is Wang Dong's best stepping stone. It allows him to naturally integrate into the privileged class. As for the biological mother of Wang Dong's body, Wang Dong himself has no memory at all. Although he was not born in an orthodox orphanage, it is true that his father does not love his mother. In fact, most of the things like family love come from outside. Since we have never gotten along with each other, there is not much family affection at all. In Wang Dong's view, returning to the barony, at least in the early stages, is more like a transaction. The Baron accepted Wang Dong back to the Baron's palace and trained him. This can stabilize the situation in the barony. Wang Dong himself also got the opportunity to inherit the baronetcy. Of course, this is not absolute. If Wang Dong's performance is poor, or there is too much resistance from other aspects, then the status of heir may not necessarily continue to be handed over to Wang Dong. But no matter what, for the civilian class, this is an opportunity to reach the sky in one step. If Zheng Yan and others knew that the goal they would strive for all their lives, for Wang Dong, if they just had to wait and have a chance to get it, they would probably explode on the spot in an instant. It is very important for Wang Dong to be admitted into the baronial palace and obtain the status of heir. The pond is just a third-generation ship with green quality, and its growth potential is too low. It is obviously a secret investment for Wang Dong's auxiliary system to control such a fire warship. Wang Dong wants a first-generation ship, preferably one with extremely high initial quality. And if you don't have the status of a privileged class, it is too difficult to obtain a first-generation ship. As a Baron heir, he could only barely enter the privileged class. In addition, there are still many grievances in the Baron's house that need to be resolved. In his thoughts, Wang Dong and Qin Wanli had already arrived in the hall. In the wide space, there were about a dozen young men and women sitting scatteredly. They were the invited guests who had arrived earlier. Wang Dong glanced around and saw that there were still one or two acquaintances. Zheng Yan, who was sitting at the dining table, holding a glass of juice and chatting and laughing with two other people, was wearing a pink dress, which made her already tall figure look even more graceful. I haven't seen you for half a month, but the squad leader is still as bright and beautiful as ever. For her to appear at a gathering of this level, Wang Dong said she was not surprised at all. Zheng Yan also noticed Wang Dong's arrival, nodded slightly, and Wang Dong smiled. Without any intention of going up to say hello, Wang Dong and Qin Wanli sat down at a tea table in the corner and randomly selected some tea leaves. A well-dressed female waiter began to make tea for them. You must know that Zheng Yan. As soon as Qin Wanli sat down, he began to introduce the people in the hall to Wang Dong. The two people chatting with her are Lu Dao, who owns Maizu Internet Cafe. The girl is Lu Ya, Lu Dao's sister. Wang Dong looked at Lu Dao as he said, and saw that Lu Dao was a little dark and thin, and his appearance was not amazing. His sister Lu Ya was actually pretty good-looking, with a curvy figure and a rather good appearance. The one standing by the fence looking at the scenery is Huang Wu, the young master of the Huang family martial arts school. You know the Huang family martial arts school, he is also a local snake on the mining planet. The most single batch of immigrants. Wang Dong nodded silently. Chen Linfang's family used to have a martial arts gym, but it was nothing compared to the Huang family martial arts gym. Huang Wu, despite his uncle-like appearance, is actually quite good-tempered and can be considered a person who can be played with. Qin Wanli added a comment, and it seemed that he had a good impression of Huang Wu. The few people gathered together in the corner over there are all from small forces. They are said to be small forces, but in fact they are all ranked within the top 20 on the mining planet. Qin Wanli finally raised his chin and said to a few slightly reserved young men and women in the corner. You also know this. Wang Dong was a little surprised. That's right, brother, I am a first-class person. The Kingfisher Club provides regularly updated information weekly. In addition to personal achievements and comprehensive ratings, the VIP version also has photos and simple personal information. Take a look or two once, I basically wrote it down. Qin Wanli said proudly. Awesome. Wang Dong gave Qin Wanli a thumbs up sincerely, which is indeed a good talent. Ha ha ha. Qin Wanli touched his nose with rare embarrassment and said, it doesn't really mean anything to me. My eldest sister is really amazing. No matter how much data there is, she can remember everything at a glance. Wang Dong smiled. Qin Wanli's eldest sister was naturally the eldest lady of the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce. While chatting and laughing, the tea has been brewed. Wang Dong picked up the pocket tea bowl and drank it all in one gulp, feeling the sweetness in his mouth. After a while, he praised, this tea is good, the taste is fragrant and the sweetness is long, unlike local green tea. Chapter 101. Yes, although Mining Star has undergone many years of ecological transformation, due to environmental conditions, the tea leaves seem to have a slight rusty smell. It is indeed impossible to grow this kind of Tiantian green. The tea leaves used tonight. They are all from the Highland Viscounty. Wang Dong had just finished his compliments when a soft female voice came from behind. Sister Qin, why are you here? Hearing the sound, Qin Wanli, who was sitting next to him, stood up and asked in surprise. The waiter opposite who was making tea quickly stood up and said respectfully, Mr. Gao. Wang Dong also got up and turned around. She was a beautiful woman in a black dress. She looked about 30 years old. Her complexion was white and greasy, her eyes were bright and her teeth were bright. Her eyebrows were slender and picturesque. The close-fitting dress was perfect. Shows the full curves of a mature woman's body. Facing Qin Wanli's astonishment, the woman smiled slightly, then her voice was charming, soft and magnetic, as if it was stirring her heartstrings all the time. Little fat man, this is my sister's territory, why can't my sister come? Qin Wanli, who had always behaved very casually, was actually a little nervous at this moment. He did not dare to look directly at the beauty of the woman in front of him. Instead, he lowered his head and muttered, Sister Qin is right, you are the boss of Lishui Villa. I just didn't expect that you would come to Lingshou Hall tonight. Then as if he remembered something, he pulled Wang Dong's arm next to him and introduced, Brother Wang Dong, this is Mr. Gao Luanshan from Lishui Villa. She is from the mining area, Planet Legend. We all call her Sister Qin. Quote, following Qin Wanli's introduction, Gao Luanshan's wonderful eyes swept over Wang Dong, and Wang Dong instantly felt like he was deeply immersed in it. A peerless beauty is none other than Pinghu. There is nothing calm and unmoved. Wang Dong claims to be a normal man who has seen meat. So his performance at this time, I'm sorry to say, lowered the average for the public. After being stunned for a few seconds, Wang Dong looked back with some restraint and said shyly, Hello, Mr. Gao. Gao Luanshan didn't take Wang Dong's minor gaffe seriously. It was just a normal reaction. She was fully aware of her own appearance. Thank you Mr. Wang Dong for the compliment just now. Lishui Villa has always been dedicated to providing the best service for all nobles. Gao Luanshan smiled generously and said, I know how much older you are, so Wang Dong might as well call me sister like Wan Li. Isn't there something wrong with this? Wang Dong subconsciously wanted to refuse. Just looking at the scale of Lishui Villa, he knew that Gao Luanshan was not a simple person. Even though she was temporarily attracted by her beauty, she was actually the most beautiful woman Wang Dong had ever seen in his life. Wang Dong still felt that it would be a good thing to be associated with such a woman in his subconscious mind. That's right, as a leader among the interstellar miners in the mining area of Tangtang, he killed an assault ship and a professional exploration ship of the Tianyu caravan but escaped unscathed. He is known as the Tiger of the mining area. Dong Shengsheng may have his own ideas. Seeing Wang Dong's hesitation, Gao Luanshan gently covered his mouth and joked. As his eyes flashed, Qin Wanli on the side couldn't help but swallow a few times. Wang Dong muttered in his heart that he couldn't afford to offend her, so he had to bite the bullet and said, "Sister Qin." Then he realized the meaning of Gao Luanshan's words. There is absolutely no such thing as being the leader among the interstellar miners, and I don't dare to think about it. As for the Tianyu caravan, it was the other party who was unkind and unjust, and we were just a helpless move to protect ourselves. I dare not take credit for the adventure of narrow escape. This sentence passed through Wang Dong's mouth, but was not spoken by Wang Dong. The reflexive modesty was still suppressed. Before his rebirth, his escape journey day after day for more than 10 years had already sharpened his will and spirit. Although Gao Luanshan was a stunning beauty, Wang Dong had never been in contact with her before his rebirth. At first, she was not good enough, but after she was accepted into the baronial palace, she was obsessed with studying and could not leave the baron to escape. And then it wasn't long before I was forced to. But Wang Dong's mind has regained its alertness after the brief moment of days when he first saw the beauty in front of him. Gao Luanshan nodded to Wang Dong, then turned and left, leaving only the lingering fragrance. Feel the same. But who gave the so-called Tiger of the mining area the nickname? It's inexplicably shameful. Then a sense of modesty seems completely unnecessary, and instead looks petty. Glancing around, Qin Wanli winked at Wang Dong. Externally, it was only said that the Tianyu caravan ship accidentally fell into the gravitational turbulence, and the miners managed to escape by relying on their rich experience. Wang Dong moved his head towards Qin Wanli knowingly. But Gao Luanshan told Wang Dong's deeds in one sentence. Obviously, either Wang Dong is indeed a popular figure in a certain circle recently, or Gao Luanshan has paid special attention to Wang Dong. Sister Qin was originally a native of the Mining Star region, but she relied on her own abilities to leave this remote place and work hard in the distant outer regions. Gao Luanshan was noncommittal and no longer struggled with this issue. She turned to Qin Wanli and said, "Little fat man, remember to say hello to your sister and me. She hasn't been here for a while. But I'm not afraid of jokes. I think it's not a big deal to fall in front of Sister Qin. This kind of beauty is the kind that is said to be able to captivate an entire country. Of course it's not enough for us two little characters." Qin Wanli's white and fat face showed a look of self-mockery, adding a sense of humor. Also, among normal people, it is often on this topic that they have the most common language. Wang Dong wanted to ask Qin Wanli about Gao Luanshan's situation, but he held back. This is to avoid targeted retaliation from the Tianyu caravan. The 11 miners who survived the mining area made an agreement before coming out to keep secret the details of what happened inside the mining area. However, Qin Wanli took the initiative to speak. Qin Wanli nodded hurriedly, saying that he would bring him there as soon as possible. The background is mysterious, but it is certain that it has a great background. Quote. Wang Dong also smiled and said, "I didn't even know what to say just now, I was almost in a daze." Gao Luanshan's news is undoubtedly well informed. With a wry smile in his heart, Wang Dong still said, "The situation forced us to work together to fight back. I dare not say that the specific details will be kept strictly confidential. At least they will only be known to a small range in the short term. This situation is not suitable." After the beauty left, Wang Dong looked at Qin Wanli, who was continuing to sit and drink tea, and laughed at himself. "Am I just like a silly boy who has never seen a beautiful woman? It wasn't until a few years ago that something unexpected happened, so I returned to the mining planet and opened this Lishui villa." Qin Wanli shook his head and said in a deep voice, "It's only half a caddy, let's not make fun of the other." Wang Dong suppressed a smile and replied, expressing his heartfelt agreement. Then the two looked at each other and laughed loudly. No mention was made of who proposed it or how it was implemented. Wang Dong realized that he unconsciously considered the issue of face. Qin Wanli almost burst into tears with laughter. He laughed and said, "You are better than me. When I first met Sister Qin, I was so stunned that I didn't know what to say. Until my sister gave me a hard slap, turn around. Desire for expression in front of beautiful women. Even if they chose to defect to the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce, it was only because everyone had no choice but to fight back." Qin Wanli lowered his voice and said to Wang Dong in a very low voice, "I heard that Sister Qin's husband has a very powerful fire battleship, and it is also a cruiser. He showed it when he sent Sister Qin back to the mining planet. So even the Baron's mansion is very polite to her." Wang Dong suddenly realized that such an outstanding woman would definitely encounter trouble if she had no support behind her. Fire warships, not any warship can carry out fire fusion. The fire source contains standard initialization battleship drawings. Only the initial battleships produced according to the drawings have the function of integrating fire. The initial battleship is the destroyer. But this certainly does not mean that destroyers are the only type of fire warships. On top of the destroyers, there are also fire warships of cruisers, battleships and motherships. It's just that these higher-level battleships are not directly generated by merging shipboard fire with battleships like destroyers. Instead, it is based on the destroyer, absorbing certain rare resources or cosmic wonders, and then consuming source points to evolve. At the same time, depending on the precious resources or cosmic wonders used during evolution, each battleship will grow in a different direction after evolution. The pond is a destroyer and a featherweight among the fire battleships. The more you know, the more you will discover that you don't know. Wang Dong often feels this way recently. Cruisers are undoubtedly a more powerful type of battleship than destroyers. If there really is a cruiser behind Gao Luanchen, even if it doesn't belong to her, Baron Blackstone will still be polite. Because there is no cruiser in the entire barony. Even for the Highland Viscounty, the highest combat power is only destroyers. With this background, Gao Luanchen can certainly achieve a corresponding status on the mining planet. With such a powerful battleship, why would she want to open such a villa? Does money mean anything to her? Wang Dong asked questioningly. Who knows? Otherwise, how can we say that Sister Qin has a mysterious background? By the way, you must never tell these things. Qin Wanli warned. Of course Wang Dong understands. When it comes to Gao Luanchen, a beauty with a mysterious background, it is commendable that Qin Wanli can reveal so much information. Thank you, Lao Qin. Wang Dong's sense of Qin Wanli has improved again and he is more serious. Qin Wanli laughed and said, "It's okay, I don't know why, but I feel like you are in love." Qin Wanli could feel that Wang Dong's attitude towards him was becoming more sincere, which made him very happy. Although this information is not considered confidential, not many people on the mining planet know it. I disclosed it to Wang Dong without permission, and when my family found out, they still got scolded. However, Qin Wanli thinks it is worth it to gain Wang Dong's friendship at this small price zero. Qin Wanli is well aware of Gao Luanchen's charm, and has also seen the so-called elites, leaders, and others in many circles behave strangely when they first meet Gao Luanchen. Even the initiator of today's party, Lin Kai, has always been clean and self-possessed. He has a deep relationship with his childhood sweetheart and is a rare white lotus in the circle. But when he first saw Gao Luanchen, he was also intoxicated. It took him half a day to fully wake up, and he even had thoughts that he shouldn't have. Not to mention the dandies with slightly weaker concentration, who have shown all kinds of ugly behavior. Qin Wanli knew that when Gao Luanchen first returned to the mine, he really caused a stir. The cruiser appeared several times, and there was a 1-on-10 battle in the outer airspace of the mining area. Gao Luanchen and her Lishui villa are the real majesty of the cruiser's naval guns. She made many bumpkins on the mining planet and even in the Blackstone barony realized the gap between cruisers and destroyers, and how obvious the fire warship's crushing effect on ordinary warships was. And Wang Dong was the first person among his peers, or even the people he came into contact with, to regain his clarity after getting to know Gao Luanchen. It was just a small gaffe, and Wang Dong felt self-deprecating about it. In fact, Qin Wanli wanted to roar at that time. You were just in a daze for a moment, and then you woke up. Do you know that at that time, I was thrown directly into the pond by my sister? Based on this determination alone, Qin Wanli felt that he was absolutely right to invite Wang Dong tonight. At the same time, Qin Wanli valued his friendship with Wang Dong more and more. The appearance of Gao Luanchen was the biggest highlight of Wang Dong's party tonight. After that, as time passed and more than 30 people arrived, the party organized by Lin Kai officially began. Qin Wanli took Wang Dong around, took photos with everyone at the party, exchanged a bunch of communication numbers, and officially appeared in the circle. All the people were around 20 years old. Most of the people at this kind of party were chatting and socializing, getting to know each other, not much drinking, and the overall atmosphere was lively and relaxed. Wang Dong felt that it was more peaceful than he imagined. There was no pretentiousness or slap in the face, and no one jumped out to weigh the newcomer Wang Dong. The female waiters at Lishui Villa are generally of good quality. If I use the words of my best friend Chen Linfang, they are all ladies with a score of at least 70 or above. They only provide regular services such as making tea, opening wine, and changing music. None of the people attending the party made any unreasonable demands. Even if a few people were drunk behind them, they were just louder. The few who lost their temper were quickly stopped by acquaintances. At about 10 o'clock in the evening, the party ended. Everyone said goodbye to each other, some of whom were relatively friendly, and some of them were reluctant to leave each other. This is the atmosphere a normal gathering should have. Just when Wang Dong realized that the world was real, is it okay? Just at this time, something seemed to have happened in an area adjacent to Wang Dong and others in Lishui Villa. There was a loud, bang, followed by a burst of noise, interspersed with women's cries and men's scoldings. Seeing that the conflict was getting worse, one of the people on Wang Dong's side volunteered to go to the lobby to report the matter. Soon, the news came back. They were two guests from Tianfang Earldom. They went to the mining planet to deal with the last caravan incident. They ended up drinking too much and wanted to go hard on the waiter at Lishui Villa. After being rejected, they pretended to be crazy with wine. Lin Kai and Qin Wanli looked at each other and immediately reached a tacit understanding. One is the organizer of the party and the second-generation leader of the Kingfisher Guild, and the other is the only person from the Kongshark Chamber of Commerce to attend the party tonight. The opinions of these two people are enough to represent the positions of all the party members. Guys from Tianfang Earldom dare to come to our Blackstone barony to act wild. Brothers, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and kill them. Qin Wanli spoke up first. On his own territory, the local snake is not afraid of the distant earldom of Tianfang. Especially before the caravan of the Tianfang earldom was destroyed last time, it used the power of the patrol team of the mining area and the chief of security to force the warships of the Sky Shark Chamber of Commerce and other local forces to join the battle. As a result, 2 assault ships of the Kongshark Chamber of Commerce and 1 assault ship of the Kingfisher Guild were sunk. It can be said to be a heavy loss. Afterwards, the earldom of Tianfang turned a blind eye to the contributions of several local forces and did not discuss the issue of compensation at all. During this period, both the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce and the Kingfisher Guild's impression of the Tianfang earldom had already fallen to an all-time low. Moreover, the people sent by the Earl of Tianfang to deal with the attack on the caravan this time were just family stewards and not considered a privileged class. If we fight, we will fight. As long as no one is killed, there is nothing to be afraid of. With Lin Kai and Qin Wanli representing the two major forces standing in front of them, the others had no scruples. After raising their arms and shouting, a group of people rushed to the place where the incident occurred. Wang Dong is very sensitive to words and phrases related to Tianfang earldom and Jin family. Some time has passed since the Tomahawk incident and the destruction of Tianfang earldom's caravan incident. Counting the days, the investigators from Tianfang earldom should also arrive in the mining star field. As for the Jin family, because the journey was too long, they did not respond so quickly. Moreover, Sima Disau's disappearance will divert most of the Jin family's attention. The mining star field may not necessarily continue to receive their attention in the future. Before something happened to Wu Haozi's caravan, Wang Dong teamed up with Zheng Yan and others to cause Wu Haozi a little trouble. Wang Dong was also curious about how the Tianfang earldom would react to this. At that moment, he also followed him pretending to be interested. However, Lishui Villa itself was not a vegetarian. By the time they passed through the woods and rushed to another courtyard not far away, the situation was obviously under control. More than a dozen burly men, who were obviously security guards of the villa, controlled two middle-aged people in a corner. There were also several female villa attendants who looked pretty. One of them had a small section of his uniform torn, revealing his fair skin. The base of the thigh. Even though they were forced into a corner, the two middle-aged men still showed no fear, but looked fierce. The leader, who was wearing a green shirt and fairly neat AEBJ, sneered, crossed his arms and glanced at the waiters, turning a blind eye to the security guards of the villa who were just around the corner. Another person, who had taken off his coat and only looked at his shirt, pointed his finger and roared loudly at several security guards, spitting. "Knowing that we are from the Earl of Tianfang, how dare you be so arrogant? It's just a small shabby villa. How can there be so many rules? If you are out to do things, why do you need to be so reserved? Isn't it because you don't have enough money? Let me tell you, if you don't serve us tonight, don't even think about losing the benefits of your villa." Facing the two people who announced their homes, although the security guards of the villa did not take action, they did not show any timidity and still surrounded the two people forcefully. "Find a transport ship and send it directly to the Earl of Tianfang." Lao Luo grinned, showing 8 big white teeth. "Oh, what do you want to do? Let me tell you, the Earl of Yinfang is not a vegetarian." Hey, what are you doing? Don't tear my clothes off." The two people from the Earl of Tianfang looked at each other. They were not so stupid that they could not hear the malice in the big man's mouth. Instead, they took it as the villa's fear of the Earl of Tianfang. "I have an order, Sister Gao. Don't worry, we, Lao Luo, promise to let these two guys get out of the mining area cleanly. Boys, listen up, let's start work." At this time, it is obviously more appropriate for the leader to come forward. So, the middle-aged man in green shirt stepped forward and made an antique salute of raising his hands, and asked the big man. According to past practice, the two of them would be kicked out of the villa and blacklisted for their previous behavior. However, in view of the special status of the two of them, they still have to wait until Sister Gao comes to deal with it in person. Therefore, please be patient and wait for a moment. Quote. Turning his head and looking around, Gao Luanshan was still dressed as before, but his face was frozen with frost, his eyes were filled with evil energy, and he felt a sense of oppression coming towards him. Even though he was so beautiful, it made him unable to make any traces of his hair. Then his hands and feet were tied, his mouth was gagged, and he was put into 2 large boxes. Save some, all heroes, at least leave some underwear. Sister Gao is really ruthless, she just goes for her life. May I ask who the boss of Guishan Villa is? Lishui Villa does not welcome everyone from the Tianfang earldom. Lao Luo, please take these 2 people to see them off. Remember, let them get out of the mining star field. Ouch, my pants. The whispers of the crowd naturally could not reach Gao Luan Chinzuo, who had already left. The big man in the lead wore a pair of sunglasses and said expressionlessly, "When you enter our Lishui Villa, you must abide by the rules. As long as you abide by the rules, you are our guest. The villa has its own way of hospitality. If you don't follow the rules, that's it. Evil guests, the villa will never show mercy to evil guests." On the field, the security guards of the villa moved very quickly. Under the command of the leader, the big man Lao Luo, the 2 people led by Earl Tianfang were stripped off into white flesh, revealing their fat belly, which represented the sorrow of middle-aged people. Wang Dong shook his head. Judging from the movements of the 2 people when they resisted, they could be regarded as practicing martial arts, but compared to the uniformly strong bodyguards of the villa security guards, it had no effect at all. During the stalemate, a bitter sarcasm floated lightly. "Nonsense, it's not clear. Hey, Captain Luo." Lin Kai, Qin Wanli and others couldn't help but look disgusted when they heard this. Is this a rhythm where people are treated as goods and packaged directly for express delivery? Hey, the fools of Tianfang earldom are indeed so human-like when necessary. P.S. Some readers think the progress of the first volume is slow because it is a depository. This is my first time writing a book, and I feel a little uncomfortable with Filu's style. The updates will be accelerated in the past 2 days. Fast forward to the second volume, and the progress will be accelerated appropriately. Thanks for your support. Without even glancing at the two of them, Gao Luanshan ordered the big man, and then left. Wang Dong listened to the voice, which was gentle and slightly magnetic. It was Gao Luanshan. The big man had no intention of giving any face, he just stared at the two of them coldly without any reaction. Who is this? Is the cargo hold a place for people to stay? It will take at least 10 days for us to reach Tianfang Earldom, right? But now that things have ended in an unexpected ending, the group of people dispersed. After hearing the order, more than a dozen strong men moved forward and rushed forward. In an instant, the two people led by Earl Tianfang were drowned in the wave of people. Lao Luo looked excited and responded loudly. Blocked by the human screen, no one could see the specific situation inside, but just from the changed voices of the two people, one could tell that what was being staged was a drama that could easily cause discomfort. Intimidated by the beauty in front of him, the man in the shirt who had uttered arrogant words before now lost any trace of arrogance and said in a low voice. P.S. Isn't this title very similar to Lu Feng? After saying goodbye to a few new friends he had just met but was still relatively friendly with, Wang Dong took Qin Wanli's car and left Lishui Villa. Sister Gao treats the people of Tianfang Earldom like this, aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? On the way, Wang Dong pondered for a long time, and then chose to stir up the topic. As the people sent by the earldom of Tianfang to investigate the destruction of the caravan were thrown back by Gao Luanshan, Zheng Yan and others' previous worries became obviously unnecessary. This is the difference made by the status gap. For Zheng Yan and other civilians, the troubles they are worried about are just flies that are waved away by someone like Gao Luanshan. While driving, Qin Wanli looked around cautiously, as if he was afraid of being spied on. Then he replied in a low voice, Sister Gao has a grudge against the Earl of Tianfang. Sister Gao's husband was born in a small noble family, and he originally had 3 acres of land in the northern Star territory. It is said that it fell into the hands of the Earl of Tianfang, and in the end even the territory was not protected and was annexed by the Earl of Tianfang. So he was forced to go to the outside world to make a living. Quote. Although it was just a few words, Wang Dong understood. No wonder Sister Gao has such a bad attitude towards the people of Earl Tianfang. However, if Sister Gao returns with such unscrupulous revenge, will Earl Tianfang remain indifferent? Hey, you don't know this. In the final analysis, the mining area is still the territory of my Blackstone Baron. No matter how angry the Earl of Tianfang is, with the current situation of civil strife there, they can't send much force over, and the impact on the Baron of Blackstone will be limited. Quote. The two chatted wordlessly, and after a while, they returned to the city. How do you feel tonight? After sending Wang Dong home, Qin Wanli asked with a smile. It's not bad. I met a lot of people, and some of them are really interesting. Wang Dong answered honestly. That's good, Qin Wanli said happily. By the way, Sister Qin said that you are a popular figure recently, which is absolutely true. Many people have asked me about you. Taking advantage of the popularity you have to treat. Quote. Wang Dong understood that Qin Wanli was hinting to him that he could take this opportunity to invite people at tonight's party, which would be very beneficial to business circles. Qin Wanli undoubtedly had good intentions. So Wang Dong sincerely thanked Qin Wanli. You were right to remind me, thank you, Lao Qin. Qin Wanli understood that Wang Dong heard what he meant and responded with a tacit smile. After watching Qin Wanli leave, Wang Dong turned around and went upstairs. Whether it was the second-generation people from the mining planet at tonight's party or Gao Luanshan, a beauty with a mysterious background, Wang Dong had never come into contact with him in his previous life. It's actually quite interesting, whether it's the feeling of changing your destiny or the fun of being exposed to new things. That's how life should be. September 1st, cloudy. Tianyu Mining Company, Limited, which was only arrogant for a few days, has become a fresh, yesterday's flower. Comrade Lao Qin used his strong local flavor to return to the place where he had struggled for many years. The so-called claims and other unreasonable demands were all abolished immediately. In addition, Lao Qin also increased the miners' share of benefits. The miners were naturally delighted. Everyone knows whose face it is. The Kongsha Chamber of Commerce is raising merit. If Wang Dong and others hadn't killed some of the main force of the Tianyu Chamber of Commerce in the mining area, the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce would not have come back so easily. On the tarmac of the mining company, the new manager politely invited Wang Dong to a nearby office. Brother Dong, after receiving the notice from the boss, from now on, you do not need to pay all expenses including the spaceship rental fee. Also, the company will purchase all the minerals you collect at market prices. Wang Dong smiled understandingly and did not refuse. This kind of discount, let alone the Kongsha Chamber of Commerce, is a drop in the bucket even for a mining company. More importantly, it shows respect and closeness to Wang Dong. Before going out, Wang Dong remembered his former administrator Zhou Laosin and asked casually. That guy took advantage of the company's crisis to enrich himself, so his boss had his hand broken and was sent to prison. Sure enough, good and evil will eventually be rewarded. Wang Dong is in a good mood. Since I could resume going to the mine, normally, I could justifiably find the opportunity to board the pond and engage in a new battlefield in another space. It was also because he heard another good news from Qin Wanli. Under attack from all sides, the Tianyu caravan finally couldn't hold on. The new speaker, Chen Bao, spent a lot of money to ask an intermediary to come forward and negotiate with the Sky Shark Chamber of Commerce and a group of small forces to reach a settlement on the premise of withdrawing from the mining planet and handing over many trading channels of the Tianyu caravan. This means that the Tianyu caravan cannot carry out subsequent retaliation against Wang Dong and other miners. Wang Dong himself is not afraid of these, he is mainly happy for Lao Sao and the miners. Tianyu caravan has begun to hand over related fixed assets and trading channels in the past 2 days. Qin Wanli has been entrusted with important tasks and is very busy. Don't forget to take some time out from your busy schedule to share your happiness with Wang Dong. Rushing to the mining area and temporarily stopping at the forward base to wait for the window period, Ji Dong was warmly welcomed by the miners. News among the miners is relatively smooth, and the space bar at the forward base is the best communication environment. With a body similar to that of an unarmed miner, he fought against the Tianyu caravan and achieved the purpose of trapping and killing his opponent. No one can sympathize with the feats of Wang Dong, Lao Sao and other miners more than they do. To put it simply, it has a strong sense of immersion. In view of Wang Dong's outstanding performance in it, the talker status proposed by Lao Sao at that time was basically confirmed. Although Wang Dong didn't intend to get any benefits from it, it was always a pleasant thing to be respected. So until he entered the mining area and boarded the pond, Wang Dong was smiling. Turn on the Mirage system to put pond into hiding. Access the high-speed human-computer data interaction state. Consume 1 unit of low-level energy crystal to activate the different space signal capture function. Low-level energy crystal reserves, 54 units. Lean slightly. Hey, our ship's fire has received the signal from another space and can open the battlefield in another space. Please confirm, Captain. There is no need to be in the cold and dead empty space of the universe, nor is there any need to wait for the randomly appearing alien space information layer. In this asteroid belt with complex celestial links, relying on the powerful capabilities of the auxiliary system, the pond successfully received signals from different spaces. Enter the different space battlefield. The next moment, the fire on the ship rose violently, and the pond was teleported to another time and space in an instant. Survey radar has discovered enemy traces. The search results are as follows. First-class interstellar civilization. Battleship units, number 35,688, threat, extremely high and small. Wang Dong, who was in a state of high-speed human-machine data interaction, quickly received the information detected by the shipboard optical brain. I actually encountered a real interstellar war. This is an open space with no large stars or large-scale asteroid belts around it. It is similar to a void belt in the universe. Different from the battlefield modes such as 100 ships battle, and even 1,000 ships battle, simulated in Star Sea Journey, the interstellar war in front of Wang Dong at this time is much larger in scale. The two camps, with a total of more than 35,000 warships, fought to the death in an airspace, and the battle was fierce. Kinetic projectiles and laser weapons complement each other, creating ripples in the void. From time to time, battleships exploded, leaving dazzling light spots. After entering the different space, the place where Pond appeared was on the periphery of the battlefield, and it remained hidden, so he was not afraid of being discovered, so he had time to observe the situation. Also, Let's wait for the data information intrusion results of the survey radar. Even though it was located on the periphery of the battlefield, stray bullets such as kinetic energy bombs and laser beams still passed by the pond from time to time. Different from the attack and defense of the large fleet in the normal mode, on the battlefield in front of Guangdong, the fleets of both sides did not adopt a battle formation to conduct a mid-range artillery battle. Instead, they have been completely mixed together and entered a complete hand-to-hand mode. There was no concept of formation at all. Tens of thousands of warships were intertwined with each other and entangled together. You may be surrounded by enemies, but you may also be surrounded by enemies. This is a rare situation. It only happens when killing red eyes. Since the types of warships on both sides were roughly similar, Guangdong was unable to distinguish the strengths and weaknesses of both sides. As for the so-called idea of maintaining a balance of power between the two sides and then fishing in troubled waters, there is no room for realization at all. Civilization in different spaces. Baolan civilization. Civilization history 25,633 years. Civilization level. First-class interstellar civilization peak. Main energy sources. Nuclear energy, light energy. Sphere of influence. 2.5 light years, 7 habitable planets, population 35.7 billion. Ship type combat power, 36 to 50 points for battleship, 133 points for mothership. Language, Barian. Civilized system, monarch electoral system. After switching to a purple quality survey radar, the speed of data message intrusion has been further improved. At the same time, in addition to some basic information, there are additional analysis results. For example, information such as the cause of the battlefield in front of you. Battle of Kiao Hollow. Participants. 2nd Elector, 4th Elector. Strength comparison. 14,560, 21,128. Introduction to the battlefield. The 2nd Elector and the 4th Elector are the last two contenders in the electorate battle of the Baoran civilization. The 2nd Elector advocated the full opening up of the Baolan civilization and actively joined the sphere of influence of higher civilizations in order to obtain faster development speed. The 4th Elector advocated self-reliance and followed the path of the Baolan civilization with its own characteristics, rejecting excessive closeness to higher civilizations and losing the characteristics of its own civilization. The 2nd Elector's proposition failed to gain the approval of most electors, so that his fleet suffered heavy losses in the previous competition and was at a disadvantage compared to the 4th Elector. But the 2nd Elector was unwilling to give up. After receiving support from a higher-level civilization, he was determined to fight to the death. The two sides started the largest battle in the history of Baoran civilization in the Kiao Hollow airspace. Quote, after reading the information analyzed and sorted out by the Sky Survey radar after completing the data intrusion, I felt thoughtful. At first glance, this information does not have much practical significance for a fire warship aiming to harvest a source of points. But Wang Dong's intuition told him that it didn't seem that simple. Of course, the top priority right now is to harvest the source points. There is no doubt about this. As for how to fight, looking at the chaotic battle situation, Wang Dong blinked. I have no choice but to beat whoever I catch. After observing for a moment, I finally made this decision that was not a decision. The battle situation was too chaotic. The warships from both sides were mixed together. They were built by the same civilization and had similar styles. Just a bit of a waste of ammo. In just 5 minutes, Pon's secondary guns sank more than 30 warships in a small area, and the surrounding area was completely empty. There are too many variables, and it is impossible for Wang Dong to involve himself in the melee. The 4 secondary guns, which also used physical ammunition, swept across and dealt huge damage to several surrounding warships. As long as they hit the vital point, 12 cannons could sink a warship. It's not a good thing. If you don't run away, you will be surrounded by tens of thousands of warships, and you will be taught how to behave every minute. Wang Dong would not stupidly rush into the center of the battlefield and attack the unparalleled enemy. Instead, he would choose to start from the corner and swat the flies. The battlefield is full of first-class interstellar civilization battleships. As long as the Pon's energy shield is not broken, they cannot pose a fatal threat. In the absence of coverage by ME 5.2 particles in this universe, the shipboard optical brain coupled with a sky survey radar can give full play to the advantages of intelligent fire control. Safety is safety, but it is a serious waste of ammunition. If it runs, it will seriously affect the efficiency of harvesting source points. Wang Dong thought, might as well save some energy. In this kind of cruel battle, the role of the secondary gun is even greater than that of the main gun. What if because of this astonishing killing speed, it comes into the sight of both warring parties? A first-level civilization battleship cannot help but fight against the pond. Finally, Wang Dong drove the pond to escape for a long distance in a low-key manner, changed positions, and then started to play the target shooting game. The main gun blasted, a battleship was directly destroyed, and the pond also emerged from hiding. Of course, with the sheer number of more than 30,000 battleships, even a salvo from 1% of the fleet would be enough to instantly turn the pond into ashes. On the pond, the charging buffer time of the main gun is nearly 1 minute, while the secondary battery only takes a tenth of a second. Secondly, adjust to the principle of prioritizing shooting accuracy instead of prioritizing self-preservation. The reserves looked okay, but when faced with such a big scene, they felt a little dwarfed. If you encounter a second-level interstellar civilization, you won't have the pleasure of punching a novice village. Wang Dong didn't even turn on the spiritual detection function of the Explorer Sky Survey radar. First of all, the shooting speed cannot be too fast, otherwise it will easily attract attention. Although the attack power of physical projectiles is slightly stronger, it is more likely to be limited by the amount of ammunition. Unlike the beam cannon, which only consumes energy. Main gun ammunition remaining: 1233 rounds, secondary gun ammunition remaining: 563 energy miscellaneous amount, 2303. In this chaotic battlefield, even if it is detected that there may be ship-based modules on which warships, Wang Dong has no way to collect them in advance. The entire battlefield has been reduced to a mess, and Wang Dong doesn't need to think about whether he will be exposed. He has no time to care about you. Wang Dong corrected minor mistakes and adjusted configurations. It seems that we need to consider changing the main gun. The latter will make the shipboard optical brain tend to clear the enemy units near the ship in the shortest possible time. It seems a bit high profile. Remaining source points: 166. Wang Dong broke out in a cold sweat. The secondary battery's rate of fire was too fast. The default automatic attack mode of the ship's optical brain consumed more than 100 rounds and directly cleared enemy ships within short range. Speaking of which, Wang Dong's opponents in these 3 different space battlefields were all first-level interstellar civilizations, and his luck was basically on the line. He has not yet asked the pond to activate the energy shield, saving energy while making the pond less conspicuous. Each secondary gun is aimed at a target. Aim, lock on, and fire a single shot. After one shot was not sunk, he added another shot, using the most economical mode to slowly harvest the source points. As a result, the killing speed was greatly reduced and kept a low profile, making it inconspicuous in this chaotic battle. Pond's ammunition is limited. If the firepower is fully used, the secondary battery ammunition will not last long. 24 hours of different space battlefield, Wang Dong chose this mode to obtain the most optimized benefits. In addition, Wang Dong did not give up the main gun. Although the rate of fire is 1 round per minute, it seems a bit wasteful in this kind of harvesting process. But no pain, no gain. Compared to the origin point, this waste is worth it. From time to time, stray bullets or shelling from nearby warships hit the pond's hull, but the damage was minimal. As soon as the physical projectile came into contact with the pond's armor, it was directly deflected and could only cause minimal damage. The attack of the beam cannon can often only put a layer of black film on the outermost layer of the armor, and the effect is worrying. A LV.7 level fire warship is like an adult beating a child against an interstellar civilization of the upper level. As long as you are not surrounded by sheer numbers, you can basically do whatever you want. He always stayed on the outer circle of the battlefield, keeping the pond away from the center, and carefully continued to expand his results. In the first hour, the pond only circled around the outermost edge of the battlefield, making small gains. 3 hours later, the pond gradually moved closer to the interior of the battlefield. As the density of battleships increased, its efficiency increased several times. 8 hours later, main gun ammunition remaining 753 rounds, secondary battery ammunition remaining 0, energy remaining 2302. Remaining source points 1571. The prolonged bombardment, even in the most economical and efficient manner, had exhausted the secondary battery ammunition on the pond. The results are gratifying. In 8 hours, the pond sank more than 5,000 warships and obtained the source points of more than 1,400 units. Wang Dong cruised around the outer layer of the battlefield as low-key as possible, circling in circles, peeling off the warships from both sides on the outermost edge of the battlefield layer by layer. The method was correct, but the damage to thousands of warships was still in a low-intensity combat zone on the outer edge of the battlefield, which would inevitably attract the attention of both warring parties. It's just that the battle situation at this time has also entered the final stage. Both sides have fought to the point of jealousy, and no one can take a step back. At this time, the effort of breathing a sigh of relief may be taken away by the opponent in a wave. Even if Wang Dong's pond account is noticed as an uninvited guest, effective countermeasures cannot be taken within a short period of time. With the sharp reduction in numbers, the situation of the warring parties has gradually become clearer. One of the parties is at a disadvantage. Wang Dong doesn't know whether it is the second elector or the fourth elector, so he simply named it Blue Side temporarily. Nearly 3,000 warships gathered at the center of the battlefield, struggling to maintain a defensive formation, guarding a giant warship in the center to resist the other side's attack. The other side, naturally the red side, with a superior number of 9,000 ships, launched an all-round siege on the blue side's defense circle. During the battle, reinforcements from both sides joined in from time to time, and they all arrived in units of 100 ships. On the periphery of the battlefield, it was obviously a chaotic fight. This is due to the fact that reinforcements from both sides are constantly arriving and cannot join the central battlefield, so they can only gain an advantage on the periphery. During this period, Wang Dong's pond was also besieged by hundreds of warships. However, the pond's engine has been strengthened to the LV.2 level, making its speed far exceed the speed of these first-class interstellar civilization warships. The warships that came to besiege were all destroyed by Wang Dong's kite. The advantage of the red side is becoming more and more obvious, and nearly 6,000 warships still maintain combat effectiveness. If you are close, you may still have a chance to try to stop it. There were nearly 1,000 warships in the battleship group of Red Party. They all used their full power and rushed straight into the defense circle of Blue Party. They did not shy away from any artillery attack and launched a suicide attack on the giant warship like crazy. Attack. The first is to distance yourself. As a result, pond's survey radar suddenly emitted a rapid beep at the first moment. After that, Wang Dong became more cautious. Main gun ammunition remaining 513 rounds, secondary gun ammunition remaining 0, energy remaining 2,297. Remaining source points 1631. As soon as he heard the sky survey radar warning, Guodong asked the pond to sail away from the giant battleship at full power. Warning: if a high energy reaction is detected, please take avoidance immediately. In sharp contrast, none of the blue side warships made any move to escape, but united more closely around the giant warship, even using the ship's hull to resist the attack from the red side. Wang Dong originally thought that the blue side had surrendered. Wang Dong was also a little helpless. The secondary gun ammunition was exhausted and he could no longer carry out high-speed harvesting. He could only use the main gun to do the roll call. Now that the battle situation has been decided and there is no chance to fish in troubled waters, he is ready to retreat. If you are far away, just run away. Then, there seemed to be an agreement. Different from Wang Dong's leisurely attitude, the battle between the red and blue sides has reached a critical moment. The battle situation entered the most tragic stage in an instant. How could Wang Dong not understand that surrendering was a sign of collapse? After the ammunition for the pond's secondary guns was exhausted, the main gun's once-a-minute bombardment basically attracted no attention. The defense circle, composed of 3,000 battleships of the blue team, has shrunk to 500 ships under the siege of 3 times the enemy. It was obvious that the two sides were beginning to negotiate. Blue team, is going to use some kind of big killer. Wang Dong listened to the warning sounds that kept coming from his ears and focused on the central battlefield. The radio waves crisscrossing the battlefield suddenly became denser. 12 hours later, suicide, defense vs. suicide, attack. Obviously, both sides are very aware of the effect of the big killer weapon used by the blue side. The remaining, red side, battleships desperately fled away from the giant battleship, completely ignoring their fragile tails exposed to the blue side gunfire. All warships outside the central battle zone of the battlefield, whether they are red team or blue team, choose to stay away immediately. Anyway, the further away, the better. Just when Wang Dong thought the battle was about to end and was preparing to retreat early to prevent being dumped, a surprise happened. The blue side has been defeated, and even the giant battleship that has been closely guarded has been scarred. Because a quarter of an hour later, the hull of Blue's giant battleship shook, and the flame of the tail thruster gradually extinguished. Being in a hurry is like facing a disaster. The high energy response is improving. Warning, the energy response has increased to the critical point, the ship is preparing for impact. 30, 29, 28. Wang Dong immediately activated the energy shield. Fortunately, there was all-round protection from the energy shield, otherwise Wang Dong could only choose to change direction and use the thickest armored bow part to meet the coming impact. 3, 2, 1. When the countdown reached 0, Blue's giant battleship suddenly began to rapidly collapse inward, and the entire battleship instantly turned into a small dot. After a sudden contraction, the giant battleship disappeared, and a miniature gravitational collapse field suddenly appeared in its place. When the powerful gravity struck, the first to bear the brunt were the thousands of red and blue battleships in the center of the battlefield. In just a few seconds, they were sucked into the newly formed micro-gravitational collapse field. Just like the giant battleship, no bones remained. Next, the gravitational waves of the micro-gravitational collapse field swept across the entire battlefield. All the warships participating in the battle had no time to escape from the gravitational range, and were pulled into the micro-gravitational collapse field and fell into the interior. Wang Dong's pond account is also among them. Fortunately, the pond's stern is facing the direction of the miniature gravitational collapse field, and the propellers at the stern of the ship can work at full power. At the same time, the output provided by the 4 azimuth adjustment engines has also become an important supplement to resist the gravitational pull from the micro-gravitational collapse field. MMP. Wang Dong cursed in his heart. It's just a first-level interstellar civilization, but it actually took out a gravitational collapse field bomb that even a third-level interstellar civilization might not have. In the blink of an eye, some intelligence information about this battle obtained after the previous intrusion of survey radar data flowed through Wang Dong's mind. The second elector advocates the full opening up of the Bayarn civilization and actively joins the sphere of influence of higher civilizations in order to achieve faster development. But the second elector was unwilling to give up. After receiving support from a higher-level civilization, he was determined to fight to the death. Quote, "It is obvious that the second elector has hooked up with a more advanced civilization and gained so-called support, which is a big killer like a gravitational collapse field bomb. The blue side, which has always been at a disadvantage, is obviously the second elector. It seems that next time, the emphasis on intelligence will be even higher." Before his rebirth, Wang Dong had never obtained a purple-quality sky survey radar like the Explorer Sky Survey Radar naturally, nor did he enjoy the convenience brought by this higher-level data intrusion function. There is nothing to say. Although the pond has opened a certain distance, these distances are far from safe for the gravitational range of the micro-gravitational collapse field. The gravitational force from artificial micro-gravitational collapse fields is different from naturally occurring black holes. It is huge and irregular, and the gravitational tide is not stable. When the gravity was at the trough, the pond could barely move out a little with the engine fully turned on. When the gravity is at its peak, the pond will still be pulled tightly back even if its engines are fully turned on. One loosen and the other tighten, the day progresses and retreats. The hull structure of the entire battleship has been subjected to the most severe test. In this case, every gravitational tidal fluctuation may cause damage to the hull structure at any time, or even cause the hull to break. Hull damage, 2%. Hull damage, 3%. Hull damage, 4%. Almost every 10 seconds that pass, the structural damage to the pond's hull becomes more serious. Wang Dong's face was gloomy, but he was not too panicked. When a battleship is intact, its adaptability to pressure differences is of course the strongest. As the damage rate of the hull structure continues to increase and a damaged hull appears, its resistance to pressure differences will become weaker. If it were a real black hole, there would be no chance of pond surviving. However, the micro-gravitational collapse field that appeared in this battlefield is extremely unstable and is only a temporary micro-gravitational collapse field. It is incredible that such a small amount of energy provided by a giant battleship can create a temporary miniature gravitational collapse field. If it is said that a stable gravitational collapse field can be created, Wang Dong really doesn't believe it. What's more, all micro-gravitational collapse fields are unstable. Only gravitational collapse fields that reach a certain scale can exist stably. Wang Dong's hope is to persist as long as possible until this miniature gravitational collapse field disappears. Racing against time and winning his own life is Wang Dong's only hope for survival. The gravitational tide of the micro-gravitational collapse field fluctuates, but the overall trend continues to increase. Even with full power, the pond is still gradually approaching the micro-gravitational collapse field. Moreover, the speed of approach is on the rise. As time passed by, Wang Dong maintained the course of the pond, with sweat dripping down his face, and his expression gradually became ferocious. The pond fell towards the gravitational collapse field faster and faster, but the gravity of the gravitational collapse field but it is still growing. Hull damage, 12%. Hull damage, 13%. Hull damage, 14%. Not only is it facing the danger of being sucked into a gravitational collapse field, but when the ship's structure will collapse is also a danger the pond faces. The great terror between life and death is impacting Wang Dong's reason one after another. The crazy emotions are rapidly accumulating, and it seems that they are about to destroy the dam of reason. But Wang Dong didn't collapse. He is a man who has truly experienced life and death. Calmly push the emergency lever. After the pond shuddered, the engine began to output at 120% power, and the main thruster at the stern went all out. The acceleration of the pond's fall towards the gravitational collapse field began to decrease rapidly. After the engine is overclocked, although it can provide greater thrust, it also runs the risk of being damaged at any time. It is not a wise move to enable overclocking without authorization until the last moment. The engine turned on the overclocking mode, and the pond went all out, giving full play to its own strength, tenaciously resisting the gravitational pull from the miniature gravitational collapse field, and constantly delaying the time of being engulfed by the gravitational collapse field. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. 1 minute, 5 minutes. Hull damage, 22%. Hull damage, 23%. Hull damage, 24%. All the red and blue warships on the battlefield were unable to resist the pull from the micro-gravitational collapse field, and they all fell into it. Among the surrounding stars, only the pond was still holding on. The one who got the money. 15 minutes. Hull damage, 35%. The pond number is still hanging on. Although 2 of the 4 position adjustment engines have burned out, the engine heats up rapidly due to overclocking. 20 minutes. Hull damage, 44%. 3 engines were lost after adjusting in 4 directions. The engine was about to be forced to exit the overclocking state due to excessive temperature, and the thrust was reduced. But the pond number is still going. 25 minutes. Hull damage, 56%. The only remaining lower azimuth adjustment engine was damaged and its thrust dropped. At the last moment when the engine was damaged, Wang Dong used his rich experience to force it out of the overclocking state, and its thrust dropped by more than 20%. Pond number, hold on. 30 minutes. Hull damage, 68%. The lower azimuth adjustment engine burned out, and all the azimuth adjustment engines were wiped out. The main engine was damaged, and the thrust dropped sharply, less than 30%. Pond no, I can't hold on any longer. But Wang Dong smiled. The micro-gravitational collapse field can no longer hold on. Maintaining its existence for a full 30 minutes, this miniature gravitational collapse field that swept the entire battlefield and destroyed tens of thousands of warships finally came to the end of its life. After swallowing a large amount of matter, it was repaired by the laws of physics and disappeared. The gravity from the gravitational collapse field suddenly disappeared, and the pond finally escaped from the life and death crisis. Wang Dong lay exhausted on the commander's chair, panting rapidly. The huge mental pressure and the side effects of the adrenaline burst left Wang Dong at this time unable to even move a finger. T*J. Whispering in his heart, Wang Dong's eyes turned black and he almost fainted. But he still struggled to hold on until the medical robot arrived and replenished the nutrient solution in time, and then he took a breath and did not lose consciousness. At this time, the azimuth adjustment engine of the pond was completely destroyed, and the main engine was also severely damaged. It was like a fallen flower and a willow, unable to withstand any accident. Wang Dong couldn't imagine what would happen if he fainted and lost consciousness. In addition, Wang Dong has a guess in his mind that the giant battleship used the energy of its own engine to trigger a miniature gravitational collapse field that lasted for such a long time, to be continued. Use the source point repair engine. Holding back the feeling of heartache, Wang Dong issued the order. The pond, with 123% of its engine damaged, needs to be overhauled at the shipyard to replace parts before it can be restored. But now that we are in a different space, there is no such opportunity. But the harvest this time was less than 1,500 source points. If the source points were used to repair the engine, the income would be further reduced. This made Wang Dong's heart bleed. Start the source point repair method. The damage control situation of this ship is as follows. Engine damage, 77%, hull damage, 68%, the diagram is as follows. Please select the repair location. Repair the engine area. Wang Dong felt weak. Repair the engine part. The damage degree is 77%. The LV.2 engine, the repair will consume source points 100 plus 100 asterisk 77% equals 154 points, and the repair time will be 154 minutes. Are you sure to confirm the repair? 154 points. Wang Dong felt distressed. The current source point of Pond No is 1631, which was 166 before entering the different space battlefield. In other words, in this different space battlefield, Wang Dong only obtained a total of 1,465 source points, and it took 154 points to repair the engine, which is equal to 1/10 of all the gains. Confirm fix. Although he was distressed, Wang Dong did not hesitate at all and resolutely chose to consume the source point for emergency repair. Remaining source points, 1477. Compared with the source point, a small life is definitely more important. You must understand sustainable development. While waiting for the engine to be repaired, Wang Dong was not idle. He resolutely turned on the spiritual detection function of the Explorer's Sky Survey radar. Even at this moment, the entire battlefield was already empty, and all the wreckage of the battleships had been swallowed up by the miniature gravitational collapse field. Lean slightly, and a dazzling purple light spot is marked on the virtual screen. The point where the giant battleship collapsed inward was also where the miniature gravitational collapse field was generated. A spherical body with a volume of less than 2 cubic meters was suspended alone in the vast space of the universe. The spherical body is completely dark, and the Sky Survey radar has no response to it, and it is difficult to identify it with the naked eye. If it weren't for the spiritual detection function, it would be impossible to find its traces by locating it and pressing it. Wang Dong squinted his eyes. He had gained a lot from the source points this time. The harvest from thousands of source points was worth several years of hard work for ordinary fire warships. But maybe the surprise will be even greater. After finishing a nutritious meal and resting for a while, the automatic repair of Pond's engine was completed. On the huge battlefield, no warship has been approaching for more than 2 hours. Indeed, micro-gravitational collapse fields are absolutely inaccessible to first-level interstellar civilizations. They have no power to resist this. In the short term, I am afraid that no warship will dare to approach. Controlling the pond, he cautiously moved forward. After finding nothing unusual, Wang Dong turned on the magnetic tractor beam and put the unknown spherical object into the stowage compartment. The micro-gravitational collapse field generator purple consumes energy and generates a micro-gravitational collapse field with a range of 30 light minutes centered on the generator. Energy consumption, 1000 points. Time, remaining number of uses, 1 time, charging time, 15 minutes, duration, 30 minutes. Using shipboard fire to scan, a series of data was given. To put it simply, it is a shipboard fire indicator. This thing can also be used as an additional module equipment. However, after this thing generates a miniature gravitational collapse field, the first unlucky thing is the battleship equipped with this module. A typical special product that just kills and doesn't bury them, and both die together. It seemed like a useless thing, but Wang Dong was overjoyed. Although he had never seen this thing before, it had been famous for a long time. Any matter in a different space cannot be taken out. The only exceptions are a very small number of items that are recognized by Pyrotype as Pyrotype warship modules. It can be regarded as the trophy of the different space battlefield. This gravitational collapse field generator falls into this category. One of the restricted weapons of the Bohemia Kingdom, the gravitational collapse field annihilation bomb, its most important accessory is this gravitational collapse field generator. Wang Dong was unable to use this miniature gravitational collapse field generator, but countries such as the Bohemia Kingdom and the Plantagenet Federation flocked to it. The gravitational collapse field generator is one of the items listed on the official trading platforms of various countries for purchase all year round. If I remember correctly, the purchase price of the gravitational collapse field generator is calculated based on its range of action. The range of action of the miniature gravitational collapse field generator I just purchased is only 30 light minutes, and the corresponding purchase price is 30,000 source coins. And this is just the official purchase price. As a high-risk pipe product, it cannot be circulated through normal channels if exposed in collapse sites. But if we can find a suitable channel to sell it, the actual price will be at least double the official purchase price, which is more than 60,000 source coins. If you think about it, you will understand that a gravitational collapse field bomb with a range of 30 light minutes can even directly have a serious impact on a galaxy with one blow. If someone were to do this in a prosperous administrative galaxy with a large population, how serious would the consequences be? It is natural that the authorities will strictly control it. How could Wang Dong not be happy about getting rich overnight? In the circle of fire battleships, ordinary currency, such as the official currency issued by the Bohemia Kingdom or the Plantagenet Federation, can only be regarded as the lowest level of equivalent transactions. It's okay to buy some ammunition, energy block supplies, etc., but the transactions of ship-based modules, especially the transactions of ship-based modules above a certain quality, basically use higher-level currencies as equivalent transactions. Source currency is a high-end currency born in response to demand. Based on the shipboard fire on all fire warships, and with the help of the mysterious connection between the shipboard fire and the fire source, the fire human civilization spent nearly 10,000 years to forge a network. The fire network can cover all fire battleships and can only be used within the circle of fire battleships. Every fire warship can connect to this network through its own shipboard fire and perform various operations. For example, the acquisition of information, the transaction of goods, and the entrustment of receiving superior lotus. Source coin is a currency used in circulation within the Tinder network. Consumption on the Tinder network can be paid with source coin and settled directly from the source coin account. But it is not just a virtual currency. Source currency is also supported by its own currency value. The maintenance of the Tinder network also requires resources. The source point within the shipboard fire is one of the essential consumptions. When each pyro warship logs into the pyro network, it must consume a different number of source points based on factors such as the remoteness of the access link, length of time, amount of traffic used, and different types of services. There is a charge for internet access, no problem. Part of this is purely self-consumption, and the other part is the handling fee charged by the fire network to maintain its normal operations. The Tinder network is managed by a committee formed by the top 100 most powerful nations in the Tinder human civilization. The position is absolutely neutral and completely public welfare. The purpose is to strengthen the fire warship group and even the overall strength of the entire fire human civilization. Since it is a public welfare organization, its own maintenance requires a steady stream of expenditures, so it is best to be able to take care of itself and form a closed loop. Although the source point is between shipboard fire types, it cannot be transferred in any way. Similarly, the fire network can one-way accept the source points in the shipboard fire for its own consumption, but it can no longer transfer the source points to the shipboard fire on the industry line fire warship. In this way, in addition to evolving its own warships, Yuandian can indeed achieve a certain degree of monetization through the special channel of the Tinder network. For example, Guangdong can choose to transfer the source points stored in the shipboard Tinder to the Tinder network for recharge after the shipboard Tinder is connected to the Tinder network. Source points can be converted into source coins on a one-to-one basis, which can be used for consumption and transactions on the Tinder network. Guangdong has not connected to the Tinder network so far. Of course there is a reason. The neutrality and public welfare nature of Tinder network does not mean that it is absolutely fair. The transaction behavior of each account on the Tinder network is always traceable as long as you are willing to pay the price. For example, this account pays for ammunition supplies at a certain supply port in a certain galaxy. Through this piece of information, an interested person can deduce the current whereabouts of the fire battleship corresponding to this account. As for the collection of information, there are many specialized intelligence organizations on the Tinder network that are engaged in work or services in this area. Although Yuan Shu and Tomahawk had some source currency balances in their previous accounts on the Tinder network, the Yuan family still has some foundation. Even if it is only a few hundred yuan coins, it is still a huge sum of money for Guangdong, who is just starting out. Because as far as Guangdong knows, the exchange ratio between source currency and Bohemia Kingdom currency is as high as 1 to 100,000. This is not bad. In some small countries near the Bohemia Kingdom, the exchange ratio between their official currency and source currency can even reach 1 million to 1. However, due to confidentiality considerations, Guangdong will definitely not log into the account originally used by Yuan Shu. After consuming up to 1,000 source points, the identity information in the Tomahawk shipboard fire was reset into a pawn string. The account originally corresponding to Tomahawk's identity information is not unusable. After a series of verification procedures, he can still use the previous account normally. But he'd be stupid to do that. Pawned account can register a new account after reconnecting to the Tinder network. Guangdong still didn't take action. It's very simple. It's not difficult to find out where a new account is registered. In the mining star field, a remote star field where chickens don't poop and birds don't lay eggs, a fire warship with a newly registered account suddenly appeared. As an intelligence organization that specializes in collecting intelligence clues on the Tinder network all the time, would it miss this obviously potentially valuable news? It can easily be linked to the missing Tomahawk, attracting some attention again and causing serious consequences. What's more, in the near future, Guangdong, who mainly develops in a low-key manner, does not have much demand for the Tinder network. If you don't have money, there's nothing wrong with online shopping. So he was preparing to log into the Tinder network when he had the opportunity to go to a more prosperous star field. In that kind of place, a newly registered account is not noticeable at all. This time in the different space battlefield, a miniature gravitational collapse field generator was harvested. It is of high value. If you want to realize it, an account is indispensable. Guangdong recovered from the surprise of getting a windfall and pondered for a while. With such a profit, many of Guangdong's follow-up plans and ideas can be realized much ahead of schedule. Even the plan after returning to the barony may have to make certain modifications. After obtaining the miniature gravitational collapse field generator, Guangdong no longer paid attention to the alien space civilization warships that were about to move in the distance. The pawn stayed away from the battlefield and avoided the depths of the starry sky. It's not that I don't want to use the Feiju jump device. In the different space battlefield, due to the difference in the universe, the charging time of the Feiju jump device, a super light navigation device, is greatly increased to about 20 times the original time. It takes more than 20 hours to recharge. Before the recharging is complete, the different space battlefield is over. Moreover, during the charging period, the engine power is heavily used, which will seriously affect the combat capabilities in aspects such as energy shield activation and main gun charging. Therefore, in different space battlefields, fire warships basically do not use jump devices. Furthermore, in the vast universe, who knows which direction to jump in and what you will encounter? There is a high probability that it will be a wasteland and a waste of precious time. As time went by, the pond traveled alone in the deserted universe without encountering any living creature until the end of this 24-hour, different space battlefield. The pond returns to this universe. Wang Dong immediately drove the mining ship and flew tirelessly in the asteroid belt mining area. In this different space battlefield, Pond gained more than 1,000 units of source points. Originally, Wang Dong planned to store some of it, and then wait until Pond registered a new account on the Tinder network and then recharge it for use. But the windfall of a miniature gravitational collapse field generator allowed Wang Dong to escape from the arduous first pot of gold stage of entrepreneurship. Therefore, the source points obtained by Pond No can be invested in the second priority to increase the combat power of Pond No itself. Purple quality and gold quality ship-based modules, in addition to source points, also require titanium crystal ore to strengthen and upgrade. Wang Dong currently has no channels to obtain this controlled precious mineral. However, it is suggested that low-quality ship-based modules can still obtain a certain increase in combat power. The pond number was originally just a platform for Wang Dong to obtain the first pot of gold. Now that this task has been completed ahead of schedule, the role of the pond number, 140, in Wang Dong's plan will also change accordingly. In the foreseeable short period of time, the pond is currently Wang Dong's only hidden means of self-protection, and there is no harm in improving its combat power. In addition, the higher the comprehensive rating of Pond's combat power, the more obvious the difference from the previous Tomahawk, and the less likely it is to be connected. From this point of view, there is no loss in investing the source points obtained this time into strengthening the pond number itself. However, upgrading low-quality shipboard modules still requires some auxiliary materials. There were some reserves on board the pond, but not much. Therefore, Wang Dong had no choice but to work hard and go out in person, provide enough food and clothing by himself, and hide a handful of wool in the mining area. After more than 20 hours, Wang Dong collected more than 100 tons of common minerals of multiple types. Part of it was left on the pond, and part of it was taken back as the harvest of this mining operation. Through the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system, Wang Dong can remotely control the pond to enhance and upgrade the shipboard modules. Browse through the current basic situation of Pond No. Scout Class Destroyer LV.7 Pond. Standard Main Gun Green LV.2, Standard Armor Green LV.2, Standard Engine LV.2, Explorer Survey Radar Purple LV.0, Standard Ship Body Structure Green LV.0. Attached Modules. Feiju Jump Device Purple Quantum Entanglement Brainwave Manipulation System Green LV.2, Mirage System Gold LV.0. Remaining Source Points. 1477, Source Point Acquisition Rate, 25%. Main gun ammunition remaining, 513 rounds, secondary battery ammunition remaining, 0, energy remaining, 2097, living material remaining, 986 units. Armor damage, 2%, hull damage, 68%. The damage to the hull structure is as high as 68%, but that doesn't matter. As time goes by, the hull structure can recover on its own, which is a major feature of the fire warship. With the integration of shipboard fire and ship structure, the hull structure, the most special module among fire warships, has a certain mysterious nature. Currently, the number of source points stored in the pond's shipboard fire is as high as 1,477 units. For low-quality shipboard modules, it seems quite sufficient. After silently calculating the allocation amount, Wang Dong began to issue instructions. Upgrading the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system from LV.2 to LV.3. It consumes 200 source points and 3 tons of gas ore. It took 3 hours to strengthen the quantum entangled brainwave manipulation system Green LV.2 to LV.3, are you sure? Sure. Remaining source points, 1277. Does it consume 1 unit of low-level energy crystal and double the growth value of the hard module? Wang Dong chooses, yes. Although it consumes low-level energy crystals, the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system is very practical for Wang Dong at the current stage and is in the first order. Therefore, even if a better fire battleship is subsequently replaced, the enhancement level of the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system needs to be reset to 0 and restarted, and low-level energy crystals will still be consumed to double the growth value. But Wang Dong still chose to invest in low-level energy crystals. Low-level energy crystal reserves, 53 units. As expected, with the double growth value bonus of the auxiliary system, the range of action increased by 0.04 light-years to 0.13 light-years. Not enough, Wang Dong continues to improve the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system. Upgrading the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system from LV.3 to LV.4. It consumes 200 source points and 4 tons of gas ore. It takes 4 hours to strengthen the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system, green, LV.4 to LV.5. Are you sure? Sure. Remaining source points, 1077. The first is the required number of source points, which has been doubled from 200 units to 400 units. Low-level energy crystal reserves, 52 units. The range of action was once again increased by 0.04 light-years to 0.17 light-years. Wang Dong is still continuing. He raised the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation to LV.5 in one breath. Has not changed much. Wang Dong chose no. Energy consumption, 1 point per hour. Range of action, 0.21 light-years. Green quality ship-based modules have such high growth potential. The defense attribute has increased slightly, 1 percentage point, which is better than nothing. Required conditions for upgrading. 1. 200 source points. 2. 30 tons of titanium ore. Quote. Secondly, further strengthening requires the hull structure to be strengthened to a vehicle level of LV.1. Originally, Wang Dong wanted to upgrade the armor to another level, but the amount of titanium ore required was not enough, so he had to give up temporarily. The quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system, green, LV.5, has been upgraded. The current attributes are as follows. The reason for investing in low-level energy crystals in the quantum entangled brainwave manipulation system is because there is sufficient return for every cent invested. It consumes 200 source points and 25 tons of titanium ore to strengthen the standard armor, green, LV.2 to LV.3. It takes 2 hours. Are you sure? However, the strengthening of the hull structure requires titanium crystals, so further strengthening can only be discussed in the future. At this point, Wang Dong has raised the quantum entanglement brainwave manipulation system to its current limit. Low-level energy crystals are not blown by strong winds. The defense strength is increased by 2 units. At least when the pond continues to hide in the asteroid belt mining area, it will be less likely to be damaged when it collides with small meteorites. Wang Dong has already sorted out his thinking. The other low-quality shipboard modules on the pond are not worth the expense. Next, choose between the 3 modules of main gun, armor and energy shield. Do you want to consume 1 unit of low-level energy crystal to double the module's growth value? Sure, this is normal. Shipboard modules that have been strengthened many times require a more inclusive hull structure to carry them. Defense strength, 15, material, alloy, defense attributes, kinetic energy 14%, particles 14%, laser 14%, mystery 0. When the quantum entangled brainwave manipulation system is strengthened to LV.5, the conditions required for its upgrade will undergo major changes. Remaining source points, 8,770. Upgrade the standard armor from LV.2 to LV.3. Low-level energy crystal reserves, 51 units. Required conditions for upgrade, 1. Source point 400, 2. Gas mine 6 tons, 3. Hull structure LV.1. Quote, remaining source points, 677. Do you want to consume 1 unit of low-level energy crystal to double the module's growth value? Wang Dong chooses, yes. The standard armor, green, LV.3, has been upgraded. The current attributes are as follows. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.